Chapter 1872. Captain, their speed is the demon-winged race's innate talent. Their strength might be due to the Black Dragon's bloodline, said Longjean. But the problem is, be it the Black Dragons or the demon-winged race, their sole defense shouldn't be this weak, right? Knight Sorrow voiced his confusion. These bastards haven't fully evolved, so they have flaws. Also, not every cultivator has a soul attack absolute art. If they met you, they would be countered, but if they met other cultivators, their advantage would still be very obvious. Longjean shared his opinion. The demon-winged race and the Black Dragons can combine? Could there be a Black Dragon that can transform into a human? Knight Sorrow slapped his forehead. We haven't been alive for long, so there are some things we don't understand. Perhaps we'll find out after we go back and talk to the elders and my uncle. Longjean couldn't figure out either. The dragon-headed men were very violent. As long as they met, they would attack the scouts. However, there weren't many high-rank ones. When they set up camp at night, Knight Sorrow killed 3 Emperor-rank dragon-headed men. The Emperor-rank dragon-headed men didn't need to be killed by Knight Sorrow. They were given to the soldiers of the First Army to practice their joint attack formation. Reality proved that only Knight Sorrow had an easier time killing them. The others had a harder time killing them. After setting up camp, Tanyu started working. He caught a huge python and naturally roasted it. Everyone ate and drank. After a day of fighting, no one felt any pressure. This kind of training is very enjoyable. There's no pressure, it's all excitement, said Hu Shao. Take your time to feel it. Follow my 13th brother and you'll eat and drink well, said Tanyu. After eating and drinking, the group began to meditate and rest. A bunch of idiots, still meditating in the night wind, Tanyu took out a tent and set up. This made the soldiers of the First Army who were sitting around the fire stare blankly, because they had never experienced this before. Longjean also took out a tent and set up. Don't look at people like that. You're the ones who don't have any ideas. You're the foolish ones. Leader, take a look. These two are in the wrong. When we came here, we said that we would live and die together. Since we're going to live and die together, we will naturally share our blessings and hardships together. What are they doing? White Meng Meng said. All right, Tanyu, give your tent to the woman. You can squeeze with Longjean. Knight Sorrow shouted at Tanyu. After glaring at Bai Lingling and White Meng Meng, Tanyu could only move to Longjean's tent. Brothers, are you stupid? Who would want to enjoy the wind when there's a comfortable place? Hu Shao shouted. He ignored Longjean and went straight into the tent. With Hu Shao taking the lead, the others began to enter as well. They all ran into Longjean's tent. Even though Longjean's tent was big enough, it was still very crowded. Hu Shao, you're on duty tonight. Start patrolling. Knight Sorrow shouted at the tent. Hu Shao curled his lips and left the tent. Patrolling was a must. After the arrangements were made, Knight Sorrow boiled a pot of water, took out a tea table, and brewed some tea. Then, he set up his tent and moved the tea table into the tent. Animal. This was Bai Lingling's comment when she saw the situation outside the tent. Knight Sorrow's tent was too big. White Meng Meng didn't comment and directly entered Knight Sorrow's tent. Why did you enter my tent? Knight Sorrow glanced at White Meng Meng and Bai Lingling, who came in after her. Drink tea. White Meng Meng took out a praying mat and sat at the tea table. White Meng Meng's answer was very righteous. Yishang thought for a while and didn't know how to answer. He could only nod. At this moment, a group of male soldiers who were fighting for territory in the tent noticed the commotion. Our leader's tent is the best. It's made of caltrip leather, and it's impervious to heat and cold. Flower without words said, You guys don't want to admit it. Longjean and I learned how to play in the tent from Captain, Tanyu said. When a group of people rushed into Yishang's tent, Yishang made a decision. In the future, when he was with the sergeants of the First Army, he would no longer make tea. Hu Shao poked Zhuodong and said, Look at the captain's eyes. Tea tasting. Do you know anything about tea tasting? What about drinking water? Where do you drink? Yishang was so angry that the teapot was empty and still in Zhuodong's hand. No one made a sound. At this time, whoever made a sound would be waiting to be dealt with. We are all boorish people. We don't know how to do that. Chongzhou said after an awkward silence. It seems that just teaching you fighting skills isn't enough. When we get back later, I'll take you to the tea tasting area to have a look. Otherwise, you won't be presentable, Night Sorrow said. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor, Endless Fantasy Translation. No one told us that before. Zhuodong said innocently. Well, you may not know that Captain Tang Ke and Elder Chiu have met me before. They hope that you can live a good life. Being a sergeant is for glory and for the stability of the celestial realm. But one day, you will have to leave and live a stable life, Night Sorrow said. Zhuodong and the others were silent. Night Sorrow's words made them feel emotional. I'm sorry for talking too much and making you unhappy. Well, I won't blame you for drinking my tea today, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Zhuodong and the others smiled. They knew that the First Army had once again welcomed a reliable and considerate captain. Captain, are we here to kill? What's the task? Bai Lingling asked. I forgot to tell everyone. We need to find a large mountain. That's where the human emperor and the demon-winged clan's demon ancestor fought. We need to find a weapon and the remains of the human emperor, said Yishang. We need to find a mountain. That's where the human emperor fought with the demon-winged clan's demon ancestor. Are you sure that the skeleton is still in the Samsara battlefield? Zhuodong asked. Yes, the weapon is called the Infinite Halberd, or the Great Halberd of the Primitive Halberd. In the last Samsara, the Infinite Halberd was called the Primitive Halberd. The Infinite Halberd is the most precious treasure of the Demon Wing clan. The skeleton of the human emperor is a great honor for the human clan and the 100 clans. We must take it back, Night Sorrow said. Let's bring a fortune teller with us. It'll be much easier for us to do a divination. Qi Zheng, a captain of the First Army, said. The governor and the Grand Elder must have thought of the same thing. The Samsara battlefield is full of the power of destiny. Divination is ineffective, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Qi Zheng, let's fight. We're not smart enough, Zhuodong patted Qi Zheng's shoulder and said. At this time, Immerse arrived in another area of the Samsara battlefield with a team of people. This time, Immerse came not only for the Infinite Halberd, but also for Jun Xuanji. The Samsara battlefield was moving. When it was officially born, she would have a chance to enter the celestial realm through the blockade of the Infinite Halberd and find Jun Xuanji. Chapter 1873. Immerse was now an imperial emperor, but she was confident that she could defeat any imperial emperor. She wasn't even afraid of an imperial emperor. She was one of the 3 great heavens of the Demon Wing clan, Immerse. She had once killed an imperial emperor as easily as taking something out of her pocket. After finding the Infinite Desolation Halberd and obtaining the remains of a human sovereign, Immerse could hand them over to others to bring back to infinite desolation. She could sneak into the celestial realm and see what was going on with her doppelganger. Immerse already knew about Jun Xuanji. Back then, Sha Mo's doppelganger went to Jun Xuanji's side, while his original body stayed by Mo Xianta's side and took orders from him. Mo Xianta passed the information to Immerse through his original body, so she knew about some details about Jun Xuanji. Mo Xianta and the others were killed, but Immerse felt that it was still unknown whether Sha Mo's doppelganger was exposed or not. If it wasn't, then everything would go smoothly. Then, she could take Jun Xuanji away or let nature take its course. Even if it was exposed, Immerse knew that humans wouldn't touch Jun Xuanji if they weren't completely sure. As for being completely sure, it was impossible because Jun Xuanji's soul was sealed deep inside. It was impossible to investigate. Solving Jun Xuanji's problem was one of Immerse's ideas. The other was Night Sorrow. She had to solve Night Sorrow's problem to have a chance to get her body back. Taking a deep breath, Immerse pointed her right arm forward and gave the order for the team to set off. Translator, Endless Fantasy Translation Editor. Endless Fantasy Translation other than Night Sorrow and Immerse. The team led by the Black Dragons and supported by the White-Winged Serpents had also arrived. They also wanted to achieve something in the reincarnation battlefield. After a night's rest, Knight Sorrow led the team forward. Captain, the reincarnation battlefield is a spatial world. But I don't understand its attributes, Tianyu asked as they moved forward. The reincarnation battlefield's known history has been 8 eras, plus the unknown time in the past. It should have been destroyed long ago. Now it's still safe and sound. It's already mutated. It's hard to say what its attributes are, Knight Sorrow said. In normal worlds, there was a great apocalypse cycle. Normally, it would last for 1 trillion years, or 10 epochs, or 1 cycle. With the reincarnation battlefield's known history and its previous lifespan, it was clearly past the Great Calamity cycle. However, it still existed. This was already illogical. It doesn't matter what element it is. What's important is that we get to the mission location as soon as possible and find the Sky Desolation Halberd and the human sovereign remains. After the mission is completed, we can do whatever we want with the rest of the time, Qizheng said. Knight Sorrow nodded. Yes, this mission is too important. It concerns the fate of the 100 tribes of the Celestial Realm and the Demon Wing clan. It's currently the 8th era of this reincarnation cycle. The last era of every reincarnation cycle is a period where both sides fight to the death. Therefore, what we can do for the 100 Tribe Alliance is to increase the fate of the human race and suppress the enemy's momentum. 13th brother, you are the realm lord of the 9 regions world. No matter what great calamity it is, it won't affect you, right? Tianyu asked. I don't know about that either. However, you know the situation of the 9 regions world. It's a newborn world with a lifespan of only tens of thousands of years. The great calamity of this reincarnation cycle shouldn't have anything to do with the 9 regions world. However, the 3 great worlds of the Chaos Realm should suffer a calamity, Knight Sorrow said. If the 9 regions world is fine, then we will have a stable place to retreat. Captain, when the time comes, it won't be a problem for some of my relatives in the Hylon world to develop in the 9 regions world, right? Long Jean asked. We are brothers. Naturally, there won't be any problems. Knight Sorrow nodded. He understood. Although Long Jean knew his true origins, it was difficult for him to erase his feelings for the Hylon world. It was just like how he couldn't bear to part with Bamboo Garden Village after knowing that he was from the Night Moon Dynasty. Realm Lord, what level of world does Captain own? White Meng Meng glanced at Knight Sorrow. She was from a 9-tailed fox clan and naturally knew the coldness of a Realm Lord. It's a high-level world that is already developing toward a great world. However, it still needs time because the 9 regions world has only been formed for a short period of time. You heard it just now. It's only been tens of thousands of years, Knight Sorrow said with a smile. White Meng Meng, let me tell you this. Although the 9 regions world has only been formed for a short period of time, it is indeed the most beautiful world I have ever seen. The environment is beautiful and the life is filled with moral beauty. It is truly a peaceful and peaceful place, Tianyu said. Then if you have time, let's go visit Captain's world. White Meng Meng and the others were interested. The 9 regions world has the best tea, the best wine, and the most beautiful scenery. Tianyu, you haven't returned to the city in the sky for a while. The city in the sky is getting more and more beautiful. It's cloudy in the morning, sunny at noon, and sparkling at night. Knight Sorrow said with a smile. Seeing Knight Sorrow's smiling face, White Meng Meng and the others asked about the city in the sky. Tianyu told them about the creation and history of the city in the sky. After listening to Tianyu's explanation, everyone was filled with curiosity about the 9 regions world. Battles could happen anytime and anywhere. They weren't a match for the Emperor Realm. Knight Sorrow just watched. Now, the First Leader's team was still in the run-in stage. In a situation where there was no fatal threat, it was best to train the team. Knight Sorrow's main body was cultivating his domain in the acceleration of the time-space treasure pagoda. With the experience of fusing domains in the past and the control of the power of virtue, Knight Sorrow's domain fusion wasn't difficult. He just had to find some points of convergence to make his domain more powerful. All he needed was time. There weren't any bottlenecks. As the battle progressed, The first leader's team became more and more compatible. However, they often quarreled with each other. Flower without words, who loved to stir up trouble, was often the target of attacks. His ability to organize his words wasn't good. However, when he was counterattacked and beaten up, he just laughed heartily. He could bite whoever he wanted. He had a tolerant heart, and he knew that everyone had taken care of him during this period of time. A harmless attack was also a kind of warmth. The spiritual tree race had a high affinity with medicinal herbs and were all experts in alchemy. However, they weren't good at smithing and array Tao. Therefore, when it came to cultivating array combination attacks, everyone was very accommodating to him. Captain, you don't know, right? Flower without words is truly magnanimous. This troublemaker is the grandson of the spiritual tree race's chief. Many years ago, I followed an elder to the spiritual tree race, so I know him. Can't you tell how shameless this guy is? After setting up camp, White Ming Ming, who had run over to drink tea with Night Sorrow, said, "Spiritual tree race's direct descendant? I really couldn't tell. However, it also shows that the spiritual tree race's benevolent and tolerant heart is indeed worthy of their reputation." After hearing White Ming Ming's words, Night Sorrow was astonished. Yes, so the spiritual tree race is very respected in the 100 Races Alliance. White Ming Ming nodded. Ming Ming, has Yimei been doing well in your nine-tailed fox clan these past few years? Is her surname really that important? Night Sorrow looked at White Ming Ming and asked. Yimei is different from me and bilingual. Our living ancestors are the elders of the nine-tailed fox clan, and her ancestor is the chief of the nine-tailed fox clan. We don't know about her surname. An elder mentioned it before, but I think that if the clan really minded, the chief would speak up. However, the chief hasn't mentioned it yet, White Ming Ming said. Chapter 1874. Captain, you don't have to think too much. This matter is not that serious. Those who care about her will not force her to do things she doesn't like, White Ming Ming said. She envied Night May because she had a brother like Night Sorrow. At this time, Night Sorrow did not pay attention to what White Ming Ming said. Instead, he was feeling the human emperor's seal. The human emperor's seal had recognized him as its master, so it would not tremble for no reason. He was just a little emotional just now. When the human emperor's seal reacted to his energy, he would continue to pour energy into it. With the infusion of Night Sorrow's merit power, the human emperor's seal trembled again. A feeling appeared in Night Sorrow's heart. Although it was not clear, Night Sorrow could understand that something related to the human emperor's seal had appeared. Night Sorrow could also confirm the direction. Okay. Night Sorrow waved his arm. Captain, what's wrong? White Ming Ming was a little puzzled. She felt that there was nothing wrong with her words. Why did Night Sorrow suddenly seem to be stimulated? I found something. You are right. Those who care about Night May will not force her to do things she doesn't like. Night Sorrow nodded. After camping for a night, they set off again. Before setting off, Night Sorrow gave Bai Lingling and Zhongjiu a direction to explore. That was the direction he felt. Although they did not know why Night Sorrow suddenly pointed out the direction, Bai Lingling and Zhongjiu did not ask. They began to explore in the direction that Night Sorrow had pointed out. Usually, they would talk and laugh, but at this time, Night Sorrow gave an order. They could only execute it and could not question it. As they moved forward, they encountered more and more dragon-headed people. Not only dragon-headed people, but also other mutated races. After identification, Night Sorrow and others could confirm that they were the descendants of the Demon Wing clan and other races. Different bloodlines meant different things. Some were good at soul attacks, and some were good at head-on attacks. After traveling for a day, they camped again and drank. Everyone talked about what happened during the day. Today's exploration was more difficult. There were too many monsters. They were all blocking the way. There were also small teams. Bai Lingling said, "Do you think you've chosen the wrong direction today?" Night Sorrow looked at Bai Lingling. "No, I just find it strange." Bai Lingling shook her head. "I think we've chosen the right route today. We're looking for a key location, which means it's a strange place. It would be strange if there weren't any obstacles blocking our way. The more difficult it is, the closer we are to our goal," Flower Without Words said. It's rare for you to be smart for once. Night Sorrow stood up and left the bonfire, returning to his tent. Now you know how to take advantage of the situation. Bai Lingling looked at Flower without words with dissatisfaction. It's not that I didn't take advantage of the situation. It's that you didn't find the problem. 2 days ago, when you and Chongjio went out to investigate, did the captain specify the direction? No way. Why were there so many demonic beasts blocking the way today? If you think it's a coincidence, then I won't say anything. Go to sleep. Flower, without words, stood up and stretched. You're on duty today, Zhuodong said to Flower without words, who was stretching. Flower without words' relaxed face suddenly froze, because she had to go to work. Night Sorrow sat cross-legged in the tent, deducing the combination of domains. It was a tense moment. Night Sorrow's original body and 9 domain doppelgangers were deducing and combining domains in the time acceleration. It was hard to say what kind of opponents they would encounter in the future. It was necessary for them to improve their battle strength to the best state. It was not a pity if they lost in the best state. They had the potential to develop their strength, but they would not be willing to lose or even be killed because they did not develop their strength. After listening to Flower without words' analysis, all the sergeants in the First Army knew that Night Sorrow would not make a decision for no reason. But no one asked, because what they needed to do during the battle was to carry out the orders. Lin Piaomiao was a little worried about Night Sorrow. His original body was cultivating beside the underworld river in the evil Punisher land, while his doppelgangers were in the 9-domain world. She could know the current situation of Night Sorrow from his doppelgangers. Lin Piaomiao was an emperor. Night Sorrow knew the moment she entered the transmission formation at the Moon and Star Lake. When Lin Piaomiao arrived at the city in the sky, Night Sorrow was already waiting for her by the lake. It seems that everything is fine. Lin Piaomiao was relieved when she saw Night Sorrow. Sister Xian, you came the right time. I have something to tell you. Go back and tell the Grand Elder. Night Sorrow told Lin Piaomiao about the existence of the dragon-headed man and other demonic beasts with the bloodline of the Demon Wing clan. The 100 races of the celestial realm are led by the human race to resist the invasion of the Demon Wing clan. They are extremely repulsed by the Demon Wing clan. It's impossible for them to procreate with them. This doesn't make sense. Lin Piaomiao frowned. That's why I want to see what the Grand Elder has to say. Night Sorrow said. The two of them talked for a while before Lin Piaomiao left. After Lin Piaomiao left, Night Sorrow's doppelganger entered the subbody of the Haotian Godly Pagoda to study and deduce the fusion of domains. In the heavenly desolate city, the Grand Elder was stunned when he received the news from Lin Piaomiao. He forgot that there was such an advantage. There were too few cultivators in the world who had 3 doppelgangers. Night Sorrow was one of them. This was very rare. Under such circumstances, he could send messages anytime. After receiving the news from Night Sorrow, the Grand Elder went to find the heavenly desolate city's city lord, and the two of them talked. Dragon-headed people and snake-headed people. Does this have something to do with them standing on the side of the Demon Wing clan? The Grand Elder couldn't figure it out. There are a lot of them. This means that it's a new race inheritance. It's nothing now. If there's a war, it's very likely that they'll stand against us. The heavenly desolate city's city lord, Tran Hung, said, after the Demon Wing clan entered the reincarnation battlefield, they had an advantage over us because of their bloodline. The Grand Elder said worriedly, yes. However, it'll take some time for the Demon Wing clan to lead a race that has survived alone in the reincarnation battlefield for 8 years. I believe in Night Sorrow. Tran Hung said. The Grand Elder nodded. I don't know if the Golden Dragon King has gone to the Black Dragon King. Why would the Black Dragons want to be enemies with the 100 Races Alliance? It's really puzzling. The Black Dragons have to be dealt with. We'll wait for news from the Golden Dragon King. If the Black Dragons insist on having their own way, then we'll cooperate with Chirue and get rid of the Black Dragons. A race that can combine with the Demon Wing clan shouldn't exist in the Celestial Realm. The same goes for the snake-headed people. We've tolerated them too many times. Tran Hung's eyes were cold. If it were just the Black Dragons, the 100 Races Alliance would have already taken action and even exterminated them. However, there were other races among the dragons. Although they were dissatisfied with the black dragons and had opinions, if the black dragons were exterminated, they would also be in a difficult position. The situation was like pulling one hair and affecting the whole body. Night Sorrow led the team forward. The team was closer to the two spies because the battle could break out at any time. Chapter 1875. First issue of original Night Sorrow felt that the direction might be right. Then there would be demonic beasts that could know the situation at the core of the reincarnation battlefield. If they could capture it alive and dig out something from its mouth, the following actions would be easier. In order to capture this dragon-headed man alive, Night Sorrow changed his tactics. He did not use soul attacks. Instead, he relied on the strength of his body and strength to pin this emperor-level dragon-headed man to the ground. Seeing that Night Sorrow had succeeded, the others came up to help Night Sorrow control the dragon-headed man. However, just as Night Sorrow was about to ask something, the dragon-headed man self-destructed. Fortunately, Night Sorrow and the others discovered it in time. When the dragon-headed man's eyes turned red and the scales on his head stood up, they retreated to avoid it. As a result, the dragon-headed man's self-destruction did not cause any harm to Night Sorrow and the others. Bastards have such backbone. Long Jean scolded. It seems that the shortcut is not so easy to take. It's not easy to get information, Night Sorrow said. Captain, capture another one. Everyone control it. Let Meng Meng and I use soul illusions to see if we can open its memory. Maybe we can get the information we want, Bilingling said. Okay, there is pitifully little information on the reincarnation battlefield. No matter who comes in, they will be in the dark. If we can find out some information, then we will have the upper hand, Night Sorrow said. In fact, among the three teams that had entered the reincarnation battlefield, only the first team, led by Night Sorrow, had an advantage. Because of the human emperor's seal, he had a general direction. At the end of the previous reincarnation, Mo Tianji had entered the reincarnation battlefield with the elites of the Demon Wing clan, led by the demon ancestor. However, she was an emperor at that time and did not really participate in the battle. Therefore, she had not even reached the core of the reincarnation battlefield. She had some understanding of the environment, but the location of the reincarnation battlefield after opening the space-time tunnel was not fixed. Her past memories were useless. Even if she had a vague impression, she had to find a reference object in her memory to compare. As for the black dragons and the flying serpents, they were even more clueless. They were looking for things in the chaos and came with a mission. At this time, in an ordinary tea house in the ethereal imperial city, a woman in a cloak was drinking tea and paying attention to the night moon villa. Her aura was restrained, just like an ordinary person. But she was not. She was the Emperor, the Black Dragon Princess, Dragon Language. She was very talented. After she arrived in the celestial realm, she had accumulated. After she reached the celestial realm, she was very. Dragon Language struggled because she had to make a choice. In the end, she chose Night Sorrow because her life was saved by Night Sorrow. If Night Sorrow did not save her, she might have been skinned alive by Ling Qianwei. But after waiting for a while near the Night Moon Villa, Dragon Language did not see Night Sorrow appear. But she still waited patiently. In her heart, Night Sorrow was a trustworthy person. Night Sorrow led the first team of soldiers and kept moving forward. They moved in the direction he sensed. Along the way, they met a king-class dragon headman. Night Sorrow subdued him and pressed his body down. Bilingling used her illusion and soul power to check the spirit ocean of this king-class dragon headman. After a while, Bilingling looked at Night Sorrow and said, "Captain, there is nothing valuable in this guy's memory. He has been living and cultivating in this area since he could remember. Captain, they're not natural creatures, so they must have parents. It doesn't make sense that they don't even have the memory of their parents. The only explanation is that their memory has been sealed. If a king-class dragon headman can't do it, let's find an imperial-class dragon headman. The imperial-class dragon headman must have a complete memory," Long Jean said. "Then let's continue. It's a kind of pressure to have a mission. After we finish the mission, we can do whatever we want, Night Sorrow said. What should we do with him? Bai Lingling looked at the unconscious dragon headman and asked. Don't worry about him. Let him fend for himself. Night Sorrow said and walked forward. Why don't we kill him? Tiger Cold looked at Zhuodong and Long Jin and asked. Kill him? For what reason? I don't know. He didn't attack us. We caught him first. Long Jin stood up and followed Night Sorrow. Because he's a dragon head man? No, a dragon head man doesn't deserve to die. Forget it. Tiger Cold shook his head and followed the team. Sometimes you didn't need a reason to do something. Sometimes you did. The difference was that you followed your heart. For example, Night Sorrow would kill anyone who wanted to bully the people around him without asking for a reason. However, Night Sorrow didn't think it was appropriate to kill someone who had no enmity with him. There had to be a proper reason to kill him. What happened this time was not a big deal, but it changed the sergeants of the First Army's opinion of Night Sorrow. He was principled and wouldn't bully his opponents just because they were weak. After marching forward for half a day, Chongjiu found a group of dragon headmen. Seeing that they were all at the Imperial Emperor realm, he led them to Night Sorrow's team. The First Army's team fought together. The might of their joint formation showed. Without any suspense, they decided the direction of the battle. This time, Night Sorrow didn't kill anyone. He only knocked one out with a golden brick. Then, he, Long Jin, and Tianyu held down a 4-star Emperor Realm dragon-headed man, an early-stage Imperial Emperor. Then, they got Bai Lingling and Bai Mengmeng to prepare illusions. Damn it, you are all seeking death. Our king will kill you. The suppressed, dragon-headed man roared. Then, energy surged in his body, and he was about to self-destruct. How could Night Sorrow let him self-destruct? He waved his hand and punched the dragon-headed man's head, making him dizzy and causing the energy in his body to dissipate. Then, he nodded to Bai Lingling. The moment Bai Lingling executed her illusions, the dragon-headed man resisted with all his might. He also executed his soul defense. It's useless to struggle. Night Sorrow waved his hand and punched again. After being hit in the head by Night Sorrow's fist, the dragon-headed man was dizzy. Naturally, the circulation of his soul power wasn't coherent and smooth. Bai Lingling's soul power took the opportunity to invade the dragon-headed man's divine sea. However, the dragon-headed man's subconscious resistance was still there. Seeing Bai Lingling frown, Night Sorrow's right fist knocked on the dragon-headed man's head. This made the soldiers of the First Army who were watching from the side shiver. His methods were too vicious. If he fell into the hands of Night Sorrow, Long Jin, and Tianyu, he wouldn't be able to die even if he wanted to. The most tragic Imperial Emperor in history, Qi Zheng said. No, he doesn't count. The Green Rock Race's Heaven's Horizon is. He bullied Tianyu and angered the captain. The result was tragic. His doppelganger's head was smashed, and then he was taken away, Bai Lingling said. Smashing his head is better than being knocked on the head again and again, Qi Zheng said. He had been in the First Army's encampment all this time. He really didn't know about the competition for the first vanguard of the 100 Races Alliance. Chapter 1876. What do you mean by this and that? It's just our captain who arranged for a big wild boar to rape Heaven's Horizon's ass. Who asked him to be so despicable? Hu Shao said. He was one of the contestants at that time, so he naturally knew some things about the contestants. That's too cruel. How could she get married in the future? Qi Zheng glanced at Night Sorrow. Heaven's Horizon is a man. Bai Mengmeng laughed and said, that's incredible. Qi Zheng didn't say anything. The other sergeants of the First Army grinned and looked at Night Sorrow from the corner of their eyes. What do you mean? How dare you look at our captain in a special way? Let me tell you, our captain doesn't mind doing anything to protect his brothers and the people around him. I don't care if you support him or not, but if you look at him in a special way, don't blame me for being angry. Long Jin was a little angry. The dragon-headed man was in an illusion, so he didn't need to use force to hold him down. After Long Jin loosened his grip, he was very dissatisfied and even angry when he saw the way these people looked at him. Long Jin, you misunderstood us. We just thought it was funny. No one looked at him in a special way. Hu Xiao stood out and said. Then Shi Zheng and the others apologized and expressed their opinions. No one thought that Night Sorrow was wrong. It doesn't matter. I don't care about other people's opinions. I will understand those who should understand, and I don't care about those who don't understand. Night Sorrow also stood up because the dragon-headed man was deeply in an illusion. If he continued to hold him down, it would have a negative effect. We can understand. Ba Meng Meng said. She knew they were just joking, but some things couldn't be made fun of. Back then, I didn't know who my parents were, so I left my adoptive father and went out to learn martial arts. I was 14 years old. When I was 14 years old, Tianyu and I were together. When we were happy, we laughed together. When we were hurt, we endured together. So, whoever insulted him wanted my life, said Yishan. Zhuodong stood out and apologized again on behalf of everyone. Zhuodong, you think too much. Huh, it's not a big deal. It's just a joke. I just expressed my opinion. Night Sorrow said with a smile. Bai Lingling's illusion was still being cast. If she wanted to explore the memory of the dragon-headed man, she had to guide it step by step. If she was anxious, it would cause a rebound, and the dragon-headed man would wake up, and all her previous efforts would be wasted. It's a blessing to have a brother like Captain. Of course, there's a process to becoming a brother. The sergeants of the First Army can do it. One day, we will make Captain proud of us brothers. Captain, don't think too much about it. Flower Without Words said when he saw that Night Sorrow was deep in thought. You're the one who's thinking nonsense. I'm thinking about something else. We should have killed Celestial Cliffs back then. I think he'll definitely betray the 100 Tribe Alliance, Night Sorrow said. Betray the 100 Races Alliance? That's good. If he dares to betray our 100 Race Alliance, then the captain will capture him and kill him again. I didn't see it the last time, but I must see it this time, White Meng Meng said. You're a woman. Be reserved. You have to be reserved. You still want to watch the wild boar kill people. You have a bad taste. Night Sorrow looked at White Meng Meng speechlessly. White Meng Meng didn't care about Night Sorrow's blow at all and still insisted on watching. The others also laughed. After an hour, Bai Lingling finished casting her illusion. She didn't look too good. Casting an illusion for an hour had consumed a lot of her soul power. The dragon-headed man had also fainted because his spirit sea had been invaded by the illusion for an hour. It was a huge injury. Captain, we've gained a lot. The inheritance of these dragon-headed men and snake-headed men came from the demonic mountain. Their ancestors are on the demonic mountain. Not far from the demonic mountain is Broken Sky Mountain. These two places are forbidden to them. First of all, they're not allowed to return to the demonic mountain. Broken Sky Mountain is dangerous. There are some ferocious void purple light snakes on Broken Sky Mountain. The surroundings are filled with illusory void vortexes. It's too dangerous, Bai Lingling said. Night Sorrow thought for a moment. It seems that the purpose of our trip is Broken Sky Mountain. Not the Demon Mountain? Night Sorrow asked. I don't think so. Back then, the place where the human sovereign and the demon ancestor fought had to withstand the impact of the god-destroying tribulation and the energies of the human sovereign and the demon ancestor. The environment must have been very harsh and unsuitable for living. Broken Mountain fits this description better. Night Sorrow voiced out the reason for his judgment. Captain's analysis makes sense, the Golden Dragon said. But the dragon-headed people and snake-headed people have an ancestor. Their ancestor must be very strong. We may not be able to fight them. Our goal is the infinite wasteland halberd and the human emperor skeleton. As for the ancestors of the dragon-headed man and the snake-headed man, we don't need to think about them. We just need to avoid them. When the world of Samsara is officially born, the masters of the 100 Clans Alliance will come to solve it. That's not our mission. Let's camp here. Night Sorrow ordered. He saw that Bai Lingling was drawing the map according to the memories of the dragon-headed man, so he did not intend to move forward. That would interrupt his train of thought. The unconscious dragon-headed man was kept into the clear sky pagoda by Night Sorrow to suppress him. Update, update, update. After setting up camp, Night Sorrow brewed a pot of tea and fell into deep thought. Longjin and Tianyu were both by Night Sorrow's side. The others were either resting or on guard. An hour later, Bai Lingling delivered a map to Knight Sorrow's tent. Captain, this is based on the memories of the dragon-headed man. His memories are a little blurry because they are from when he was young, but the ratio of the distances on this map should be correct. Thank you. You're the best. Have some tea. Knight Sorrow brewed a pot of tea for Bai Lingling. This trip is indeed very dangerous. The mission is not easy to complete, Long Jean said. At this time, the initiative is very important. If the Demon Wing Clan and the Black Dragons take the initiative, then the Demon Wing Clan and the Black Dragons will take the initiative. That's troublesome. Even if it's dangerous, we still have to try, Knight Sorrow said. Brother 13, you're not planning to go alone, are you? That won't do. I don't agree. Besides, it will make things difficult for the brothers in the First Army. Tianyu looked at Knight Sorrow. If asked who knew Knight Sorrow the best, it would be Tianyu. Knight Sorrow looked at Tianyu. He did not expect Tianyu to see through his thoughts. Yes, none of us are afraid of death. It's not appropriate for us to stay, Long Jean said. Then let's go together. Knight Sorrow nodded. After listening to Tianyu and Long Jin's words, he changed his mind and decided to go alone to complete the mission. Whether the mission was completed or not, it would be a blow to the sergeants in the First Army. Everyone went together. With the Clear Sky Pagoda, as long as he did not die, it would protect everyone's safety. After that, Knight Sorrow called all the sergeants in the First Army into the tent. Each of the sergeants in the First Army had a small wooden stool. They were divided into 2 rows facing each other. The closer we get to the location of the mission, the more dangerous it will be. So I'll emphasize again that no one is allowed to resist my soul power at any time, Knight Sorrow said. Chapter 1877. All right, that's what I want to emphasize. Everyone, rest up and conserve your energy, said Yishan. Zhuodong led the others out of Knight Sorrow's tent. It seems that the captain has a plan. Although the mission is dangerous, we still have a chance, Zhuodong said. The captain changed his plan just now. If it weren't for Tianyu's persuasion, we might have become spectators, Bai Lingling said. She knew that Knight Sorrow's original plan was to act alone. The sergeants of the First Army didn't know what was going on after camping for 2 days. In the past, the time of camping was fixed. But now, it was abnormal that they hadn't moved for 2 days. Knight Sorrow also disappeared, but there was a pagoda next to the big tent. At this time, Knight Sorrow's original body and 2 doppelgangers were trying their best to integrate the domain. He didn't set off immediately because he wanted to integrate the Death Attribute domain into his main domain. The First Army obeyed all orders. Knight Sorrow didn't show up. No matter how many doubts they had, no one asked. On the 4th day, Knight Sorrow appeared. After cultivating for more than half a year in the time-accelerated environment, Knight Sorrow had reached the final stage of integrating the domain. The domain of 2 supreme attributes and 3 advanced attributes was formed. With the help of the power of merit, it was a level 6 domain. Seeing Knight Sorrow, the squad of the First Army gathered quickly. Now, release your doppelgangers. Leave your doppelgangers and gather your original bodies over there. Knight Sorrow pointed at the Haotian pagoda next to the big tent. Everyone did as he said. 29 doppelgangers stayed behind and gathered their original bodies beside the Haotian pagoda. Knight Sorrow's soul power shrouded everyone and sent their original bodies into the Haotian pagoda. Knight Sorrow's soul power shrouded and vibrated. Soon, a group of people disappeared for the transmigration battlefield. However, there was still one person standing there. It was Flower Without Words. Looking at Flower Without Words, Knight Sorrow's body flashed and appeared in front of Flower Without Words. He then slapped Flower Without Words, but his palm stopped right beside Flower Without Words' head. Knight Sorrow looked at Flower Without Words and said, "In a battle of life and death, a single lapse in concentration could cost you your life. You deserve this slap. However, everyone has their own choices, and you have the right to be responsible for your own life." I was distracted. It's not that I don't trust Captain. I was just thinking about how pretty Bai Lingling is, and now you're pulling me into that pagoda? Flower without words hurriedly explained after hearing Night Sorrow's words. As soon as Flower without words finished his words, Night Sorrow's slap landed on his head. Then Flower without words' original body disappeared from everyone's sight. Night Sorrow turned around and took a step forward, arriving in front of the 29 doppelgangers. Distracted? Distracted? You deserve a slap. I don't care what you're thinking, whether it's a problem with your lower body or not. Remember one thing. Remember what I said. Remember it in your heart. Flower without words lowered his head and rubbed it. His original body was hit, and his doppelgangers felt the same. Next, we'll send our doppelgangers out to battle. If there's a need, our original body will come out. Just now I was very satisfied. Other than one simple-minded person, everyone has absolute trust in me. In the past 4 days, I've been busy cultivating. I'm sorry, but this is selfish. I want to increase my strength. This will increase my chances of returning alive to see my wife and children. It will also increase the chances of bringing my brothers and sisters back alive. Night Sorrow explained what he had been doing for the past 4 days. After hearing Night Sorrow's words, Zhuodong and the others cupped their fists. At the same time, they were shocked because they couldn't see through Night Sorrow's strength. If Night Sorrow had used his killing move, Flower without words would not have been slapped just now. If they were in Night Sorrow's position, Zhuodong and the others knew that they wouldn't be able to defend against him. After arranging for everyone to clean up the camp, Night Sorrow continued to lead them forward. Although they knew that the road ahead was very dangerous, everyone was very confident in Night Sorrow. Flower without words, you like me, don't you? And you think with your lower body? Bai Lingling, who was walking next to Flower without words, put her hand on Flower without words' arm. Flower without words' expression changed. He grimaced and said, I don't think with my lower body. I don't have any experience in this field. Everyone else does, and I won't be like this. Latest chapter, excerpt, BMC. Everyone looked at Hua Wuyin, including Night Sorrow. This was because Hua Wuyin had opened his mouth and bombarded everyone with his cannon. It was an indiscriminate attack. Night Sorrow was the first to bear the brunt of the attack. Since Flower without words said that he didn't have any experience in this field, it meant that Night Sorrow had experience in this field. Flower without words, are you trying to hurt each other? All right, then let's talk about our leader. How many wives does he have? But they're all upright and upright. They marry whoever they like. None of them are as dirty as you, Long Jean said. No, Long Jean, you're not human. Flower without words shouted as Bai Lingling tightened her grip on his arm. I'm the Golden Dragon. I really don't care if you say that I'm not human, Long Jean said. I curse you to marry a female T-Rex in the future. Flower without words started cursing. You don't know yet, right? Because he fell in love with a human and couldn't marry her, he became the Golden Dragon King. That's also my uncle's regret. That's why he spent so much effort to research a heaven-defying technique, the Dragon Man technique. Those who cultivate the Dragon Man technique can marry other races. His regret won't happen to me. I can freely switch between dragon and human forms. Long Jean laughed loudly. Lingling, I was wrong. Everyone has a yearning for beautiful things. Can't you just think about it? Flower without words could tell that no one would support him. After glaring at Flower without words, Bai Lingling released her grip on Flower without words. Why can't the 100 races marry each other? Isn't happiness the most important thing? Night Sorrow didn't quite understand. That's not entirely the case. The major races only value the direct bloodline, and those who are close to the direct bloodline. As for the unimportant side branches, no one cares. However, those who cultivate their true bodies won't have the chance to do so, Long Jean said. So you and Tianyu can't do it? Night Sorrow asked. I'm an exception. Other than the Dragon Man technique, I'm the only descendant of the Golden Dragon race. After my uncle sealed my memories, he threw me into the chaotic realm. Due to the effects of traveling through time and space, I spent my time in confusion before becoming a venerable. I could transform after becoming a venerable, but because I was confused and had no memories, I gave up on my dragon form and chose to cultivate the human form of the leader of the 100 spirits. When I return to the clan, I will cultivate to the Emperor realm and cultivate the Dragon Man art. Only then will I be able to switch between the golden dragon and the human body. There are some restrictions that don't apply to me. I can marry whoever I want. It seems like the golden dragon race will be ruined by your hands. White Ming Ming looked at Long Jean and said, "That won't happen. I can marry whoever I want, but the prerequisite is that I have to choose a princess from the other dragons and continue the bloodline of the golden dragon race," Long Jean said. "Long Jean, we're brothers. Can the Green Rock race cultivate the Dragon Man technique? If they can't, can they use your Dragon Man technique to cultivate the Green Rock technique? Otherwise, I won't have any hope in this life. I don't dare to say that I like someone either. It's too depressing." Tianyu looked at Long Jean and said, Chapter 1878. You don't have to worry about that. Tianyu shook his head. He didn't want to talk about it. How can you not care? By the time you solve the problem, she will have become your wife. By then, it will be too late. You have to make arrangements first. Long Jean was a little worried for Tianyu. Impossible. She doesn't like normal people. Besides, I accidentally let it slip last time. She should have felt it, Tianyu said. Then, no matter how Long Jean dug, no matter how Night Sorrow asked, Tianyu didn't say anything. Yishang was puzzled. The girl that Tianyu liked must be someone that he and Long Jean knew. Otherwise, there was nothing that Tianyu couldn't say. A girl that both he and Long Jean knew. He looked at Long Jean, but didn't find anything. "Captain, during the time you weren't with us, all we did was cultivate. We didn't have any contact with outsiders." Long Jean knew what Night Sorrow wanted to ask. There are only a few single women that we know. None of them have the possibility of starting a family, so there's nothing to worry about. When we go back, we'll slowly dig deeper. It's impossible that we won't be able to find one. Tianyu, you've finally grown up. Brother San is happy. In the future, I'll be the godfather of your son or daughter. No, definitely not. Tianyu blushed and shook his head. Night Sorrow stopped and looked at Tianyu. "I didn't expect you to be so ruthless." Yishang came to a realization. No one mentioned this again. The group continued forward. Night Sorrow didn't use Bai Lingling and Zhong Jiao as scouts. His doppelgangers were scouting ahead. They were dragon-headed and snake-headed people, so they avoided them directly. There was not a single battle in the day. After setting up camp, Tianyu started a fire. He took out the prepared barbecued meat. There was no battle today, so there was no prey. He could only use the prepared food and wine. While drinking, Bai Lingling and Zhong Jiao reflected on their actions. F update L knew best. PF-2Y. This was because they felt that their scouts weren't good enough. When the two of them were scouting ahead, they often had to fight. On the other hand, Night Sorrow didn't fight a single battle after advancing for a day. Although there were detours, the distance they advanced was much greater than the previous few days. Naturally, there wasn't a single battle. Every cultivator is good at different things. You guys aren't able to hide your auras well. If an emperor rank or soul power surpasses yours, they will naturally discover you guys first. This isn't your fault. When we return, I will teach you how to strengthen this point. Night Sorrow said. Bai Lingling and Zhong Jiao nodded. They understood this point. When they were not fighting, Night Sorrow's body did not emit any energy. His aura was just like an ordinary person's, and his energy was perfectly restrained. Night Sorrow's leakless true body was an absolute art. It was a trump card for cultivators of the primal chaos realm to overcome the ninth order tribulation of wind and fire. Celestial realm cultivators all had their own methods to overcome the ninth order tribulation of wind and fire, but none were as heaven-defying as the leakless true body. Lin Piaomiao's doppelganger went to the nine-domain world to ask about the situation. Night Sorrow's nine-domain world doppelganger asked her to help find information about the void purple light snake. If the dragon-headed man was afraid, it meant that the void purple light snake was very powerful. Therefore, they had to understand it. Lin Piaomiao couldn't find anything in the Misty Empire's library, so she went to the desolate city to find Seventh Elder. She was now the successor of Discipline Elder, so she didn't need to distance herself from Lu Qi. At Lu Qi's residence, Night Sorrow saw the Grand Elder and Lu Qi discussing something. From a 9-domain world, Grand Elder looked at Lin Piao and asked, "Yes, Night Sorrow now has a target. Although he can't be sure it's the place where the Emperor died, I trust his judgment. He asked me to find information about the Void Purple Light Snake. I didn't find anything, so I planned to ask 7th Elder." Lin Piao said, "Void Purple Light Snake. Did they encounter it? How much damage did the team suffer?" Grand Elder stood up, his face full of shock. "They didn't encounter it, but there will be one at the target location. Besides, the team didn't suffer any injuries or losses," Lin Piao said. However, from the Grand Elder's expression and the analysis of the Grand Elder's words, she knew that the Void Purple Light Snake was very powerful. "Piao, sit down. Let me tell you, then you can inform Night Sorrow." Grand Elder waved his hand at Lin Piao. With the Grand Elder's explanation, Lin Piao understood why the Grand Elder was so shocked. The Void Purple Light Snake was very domineering. It was a void creature with the void sovereign attribute. It could travel through the void at an extremely fast speed. In addition, its body was very small, so it was very difficult to hit it or block it outside the defense. If it couldn't be blocked, the consequences would be severe. The Void Purple Light Snake could devour all energy to strengthen itself. Unsolvable. Hearing the Grand Elder's explanation, Lin Piao was a little anxious. It's very difficult to solve. Even if there is a defensive treasure, it will be pierced through by the Void Purple Light Snake. The Void Violet Light Snake's body is small, but its attack power is strong. If it attacks from a single point, it can break through a single point. All defenses won't be able to last for long. After saying this, the Great Elder fell into deep thought. This was a crisis for Night Sorrow. After thinking for a while, Grand Elder stood up. "Piao, go and tell Night Sorrow to stop moving forward and not act rashly. I'll go and find the City Lord and King Yawu to see if there's a solution." After hearing the news from Lin Piao, Night Sorrow thought for a while and shook his head. "We can't wait. It's a waste of time, and it's easy for problems to arise. It's easy for the demon-winged race to take the initiative." Night Sorrow shook his head. "If we can't solve it, then can the demon-winged race solve it?" Lin Piao asked. "I haven't said what I'm most worried about. It's Mo Tianji. Her body is suppressed in the 9-domain world, but she has been trying to take it back. That means she's a spiritual existence. What if the demon-winged race gives up an emperor and allows her to take over his body? If she enters the reincarnation battlefield, she'll have an advantage over everyone. I have to consider this. This is also the reason why I've been in a hurry to perfect my domain. I'm preparing to compete with her." Night Sorrow said. After hearing Night Sorrow's analysis, Lin Piao's expression changed. It was completely possible. "Although I don't want to face danger, as the Myriad Emperor of the human race, there are some responsibilities that I have to bear," Night Sorrow said. He had already made his decision. Lin Piao bit her lips and didn't say anything. Since Night Sorrow had made his decision, she could only support it. "Tell the Grand Elder that since I'm the leader this time, I'll be in charge of the operation," Night Sorrow said to Lin Piao. In the reincarnation battlefield, Night Sorrow looked at the group behind him and said, "Broken Mountain is very dangerous. The Grand Elder asked us to stop moving forward, but I don't want to do that. According to my estimation, if we stop moving forward, we'll lose the initiative. If we lose the initiative, this mission will fail. But I respect everyone's decision. No matter what, I, Night Sorrow, will bear the responsibility. We, the First Army, only take orders from the leader. As for the Council of Elders, it's none of our business. If there's any punishment, we'll bear it together with the leader." Zhuodong said. "Okay, let's continue. As long as we're determined, there's nothing we can't bear." Night Sorrow smiled. The First Army didn't let him down. Lin Piao returned to the desolate city and went to the Grand Elder's small space. She saw that the desolate city's city lord and King Yawu were both there. Chapter 1879. That's courage. His analysis makes sense. It's very possible said King Yawu. It's because I'm getting more and more timid. If the demon wing race really gets the upper hand, I'll be a sinner. How do we deal with the void purple light snake? We need to find a way quickly. Otherwise, those children will be in danger. Night Sorrow is the only virtuous emperor of a human race. He's about to become the virtuous emperor. We can't make any mistakes, said the Grand Elder. The Grand Elder said the key to the problem. The void purple light snake is domineering. It can devour energy, but can it devour virtuous energy? I don't think it'll be easy. The power of merit is bestowed by the way of the heavens. Those who don't have a body of merit can't have it, nor can they use it. The void purple light snake is overbearing, but it can't be above the rules, said King Yawu. That's true. Even if the void purple light snake can break through the virtuous energy, it won't be that easy. It will buy him some time. But Elder Lin, you have to tell Night Sorrow to be careful, said the city lord to Lin Piao Miao. Lin Piao Miao nodded and left the small space world of the Grand Elder. She told Night Sorrow about King Yawu and the city lord's suggestion. Yishang hadn't expected that the city lord and King Yawu would think so highly of the void purple light snake. But even if he knew how powerful the void purple light snake was, Yishang had to keep going. Night Sorrow also had some confidence. His territory had leveled up. It was a level 5 ultimate territory. With the help of the virtuous energy, his territory was very powerful. Within the territory, Night Sorrow had an absolute advantage. Why did he say it was an ultimate territory? Because Night Sorrow felt that with 2 ultimate attributes and 3 advanced attributes, there wouldn't be any combination of attributes that could be stronger than this. As for the life energy in his body, Night Sorrow planned to cultivate it when he had time. He couldn't touch the forbidden energy. He could cultivate it, but he didn't need to fuse it. Bai Lingling and Zhong Jiu were not the only ones who admired Night Sorrow's ability to explore the way forward. Not only was there no battle on the first day, the second day was the same. There was no battle at all. This showed that Night Sorrow's reconnaissance skills were at the pinnacle of perfection. Captain, can you tell me what you're not good at? You're good at speed, and your strength is more ferocious than several of our divine beast clans. Not to mention your soul power, you could kill the dragon-headed man in one move. Your ability to investigate the enemy's situation is also unparalleled, Bai Lingling said. It's not as exaggerated as you say, Night Sorrow said with a smile. That's amazing. Captain, when you enter the Emperor realm, few people will be your match except for the older generation of cultivators, Zhuodong said. He was really happy because he was a human. Night Sorrow smiled. He took Bai Lingling's map and analyzed it. He realized that there really was a deviation. The distance between the reference points on the map was wrong. Captain, is there a problem with the map? The dragon-headed man's memory can't be fake. So can Lingling's drawing, Bai Lingling said. It's not your drawing or the dragon-headed man's memory. It's because too much time has passed and the geological situation has changed. It's different from the dragon-headed man's memory. The Broken Sky Mountain is very close to the Demon Mountain. It's unrealistic to completely avoid the dragon-headed man and the snake-headed man. Night Sorrow thought for a while and said, So it's very risky? Zhuodong looked at Night Sorrow and asked, Yes, we don't know what the ancestors of the dragon-headed man and the snake-headed man are. They might be peak emperors or cultivators of the 9 emperors' tribulation of the heavenly Tao. They might even be cultivators of the emperor's tribulation. We'll be doomed if we encounter them, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Captain, don't scare us. It's too scary. Flower without words said, I'm not scaring you. You can't do anything without careful thinking. Once you think about it carefully, you'll find a problem. How long has the reincarnation battlefield been? 8 eras. 8 eras is enough for an outstanding cultivator to grow into a world-defying giant. We're not even emperors. They can crush us with their little finger. Night Sorrow looked at Flower without words and said, Dodge. We have to dodge. Otherwise, we'll be doomed. White Ming Ming said, Don't I want to dodge? I'm scared too. If we can avoid the battle, we should avoid it. It's better to sneak in. As long as there's a battle, there will be a large amount of energy fluctuation. It's easy to be discovered. Night Sorrow exhaled and said, Captain, you're really brave. How can you not be nervous in such a dangerous situation? Captain, let me tell you, Ming Ming and I are not married yet. If we were to be tormented to death like this, we wouldn't be satisfied, Bai Lingling said. We have a lot of brothers in the First Army. Tell me which one you like. I can help you at any time. Then you won't have any regrets, Night Sorrow said as he took out a jar of wine and drank it. The feelings are with the captain. Is this how you solve your regrets? I'm convinced. Bai Lingling stopped talking. Simple and violent is the most effective. I'm just kidding. I'll think of a way to be as careful as possible. Night Sorrow nodded at Bai Lingling. The leader of the Black Dragons this time was the Black Dragon's Gong Zibai. Gong Zibai's strength was not bad. However, his position in the Black Dragons was very low because he was a hybrid. Gong Zibai's mother was a side branch of the Black Dragons. Therefore, she was less restricted. In addition, she was more lascivious. Therefore, Gong Zibai was born. As for who his father was, his mother didn't know. Only the heavens knew. Among the dragons, powerful descendants were known as the Prince of Dragons. Those with higher bloodlines were known as the Little Marquis of the Dragons. However, Gong Zibai was different. His father's identity was unknown. He followed his mother's surname. Even if he cultivated to the peak of the Emperor realm, he could only be called Gong Zibai in the Black Dragons. Gong Zibai led the Black Dragons and the Flying Serpents. They followed a dragon-headed man and advanced towards Broken Mountain. First Mo Tianji also found the reference point of the reincarnation battlefield in her memories. She also began to advance towards Broken Mountain. It could be said that all three factions had a clear goal. Night Sorrow's clone was scouting the path. It was the leakless true body that activated the 9-region origin pearl to assist the soul power scouting. Night Sorrow's soul power was much stronger than ordinary cultivators. It was at least 1/3 stronger. This was because his divine ocean's capacity was larger than cultivators of the same level. With the 9-region origin pearl's assistance, he was already at the Emperor realm. Originally, the 9-region origin pearl was carried by Night Sorrow's original body. His clone was protected by the Green Lotus Jade bracelet. Because the clone needed soul power to scout the path, Night Sorrow made a switch. Chapter 1880. Night Sorrow was very careful because it was too risky. It would be troublesome if they attracted those invincible masters. After walking for half a day, Night Sorrow's original body stopped. Captain, what's wrong? Zhuodong asked. We have to fight now. The road ahead is blocked without any gaps. There are groups of dragon-headed monsters and snake-headed monsters, Night Sorrow said with a wry smile. Hurry up and take us there. Don't be in danger, Tianyu said with Long Jin's wave knife in his hand. I've checked. The easiest way is blocked by 7 dragon-headed monsters, for Emperor level and 3 Emperor level. It's easy to kill them, but we can't make too much noise, Night Sorrow said. Captain, you arrange it, Zhuodong said. Which one of you is good at soul attacks? If the negative effects aren't good enough, then it's a violent soul attack, Night Sorrow asked. I can. The Golden Dragon Clan has a unique soul attack skill, Dragon Spear. If I use it with my doppelganger, the dragon-headed monsters won't be able to resist it, Long Jin said. Okay, you'll be in charge of one of them. Who else? Night Sorrow asked. Captain, I can use Soul Shockwave. A sergeant named Song Qiao said. He was a squad leader in the First Army, and his strength was among the best in the First Army. Good, that's enough. For Emperor-level monsters, 3 of us will be in charge of the first attack. The others will be divided into 7 groups. I'll take you there with my space magic treasure. When the 4 of us start to attack, the others will attack. Remember, don't spread your energy. Concentrate your energy in your weapons and kill them directly, Night Sorrow said. Following Night Sorrow's order, the squads of the First Army were divided into groups in an instant. Remember, the moment you appear, no matter what type of soul attack you use, even if you don't know how to use a soul attack, use your soul power to attack. Then, gang up on them and use all your weapons. Next, Night Sorrow kept everyone into the clear sky, Divine Pagoda. Then, he reunited with his clone. At present, the team was close to the Magic Mountain area. Night Sorrow knew that he must be careful and must control the energy fluctuations generated by the battle. In this case, there would be no sequelae, and it would not attract other groups of dragon-headed people. There was no lone dragon-headed person in this area. After Night Sorrow's main body met up with his clone, the clone carried the Haotian Divine Pagoda and flew. I'll be in charge of the 2 Peak Stage King Realm dragon-headed men. As for the remaining 2 mid-level sovereign emperors, the male Long Jin and the female Song Xiao, you'll be in charge. The rest of you will form groups and find your targets and kill them directly. Night Sorrow's original body in the Haotian Godly Pagoda emphasized the arrangement to the soldiers of the First Army. Captain, according to the map I drew, we are now close to the Demon Mountain, Bai Lingling said. That's right. If we were elsewhere, we would directly attack them violently. These 7 dragon-headed people wouldn't have the qualifications to block our path. However, we can do it now. We have to deal with them as soon as possible. If they wail and howl, the other dragon-headed people will rush over. Night Sorrow said the reason why he was really worried. Night Sorrow's clone restrained his aura and advanced. When he was still 20,000 miles away, he was discovered by this small group of dragon-headed people. Seeing that there was only Night Sorrow alone, the 7 dragon-headed people rushed towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also sped up and approached. The dragon-headed people didn't roar and didn't toss and turn. This was a good thing. The moment the 2 sides approached, Night Sorrow's original body rushed out of the Haotian Divine Pagoda with the First Army's troops. Then, 2 soul-extinguishing slashes slashed towards the 2 Peak Stage Sovereign Emperors. After the soul-extinguishing slash was released, Night Sorrow's original body and clone both used the Void Steps and rushed towards the 2 Peak Stage Sovereign Emperors. Night Sorrow's soul-extinguishing slash was an absolute art. When the crescent blade of the soul-extinguishing slash collided with the opponent's soul defense energy, the influence of the reincarnation scene was transmitted. When the opponent was affected, Night Sorrow's crescent blade continuously vibrated and cut into the opponent's spirit sea. Night Sorrow's original body's reincarnation spear and his clone's blood-chilling, evil-slaying spear pierced into the opponent's head. The battle was completed in a flash. Other than the untouchable fluctuation of soul power, no energy fluctuation was triggered. This caused the 2 groups of people who cooperated with Night Sorrow to be unable to stab the target after their sabers and swords reached. What was the point of stabbing a corpse? When Night Sorrow turned around, he found that the battle was already over. However, the battle was very brutal. Other than the 2 Peak Stage Sovereign Emperors that Night Sorrow killed, the other 5 dragon-headed men were dismembered because the other soul attacks were not fatal. Long Jin's soul attack, Dragon Spear, could kill his opponent. When his opponent was about to fall, Flower Without Words, who had a relatively fast movement technique, gave him 2 slashes. After the battle was over, Night Sorrow's soul power swept out and his domain shook. The dragon-headed man's body was completely annihilated. Then, Night Sorrow's original body's soul power enveloped everyone and entered the Clear Sky Pagoda. A domain was a manifestation of the momentum of heaven and earth. It was the will and the law. It only covered an area and would not cause any energy fluctuation. Zhuodong put away these scraps. Although they're not refined well, they're made of good materials. Yi Shang threw the dragon-headed man's weapon to Zhuodong, which he had deliberately kept. Night Sorrow's clone carried the Clear Sky Godly Pagoda. After concealing his aura, he continued to move forward. He was still very cautious. This was not a good place. If he was not careful, the consequences would be very serious. Captain, what's the situation now? Zhuodong asked. It's safe and there are no accidents. Night Sorrow smiled. His soul power had been paying attention to the area where the battle took place. No other dragon-headed men and snake-headed men were approaching. After a while, Night Sorrow's original body carried the Clear Sky Godly Pagoda and separated from his clone. It was still dangerous for his clone to explore the way. He could not put all his hopes in one place. Not to mention his own safety, he also had to consider the safety of his brothers in the First Army. Knight Sorrow's original body also transferred these people's clones out of the clear sky godly pagoda. My clone will explore the way ahead. We will follow behind secretly. If we can kill those who block the way, we will kill them directly. If we can't, we'll take a detour. Captain, we killed the 7 dragon-headed men in an instant. Is there anyone we can't kill? White Ming Ming asked. Miss Bai, the 7 dragon-headed people were the smallest group in that area. Just now, on the left and right sides, there was a group of more than 10 dragon-headed people and a group of more than 20 snake-headed people. It's too difficult to kill them silently, Yishan said. I see. But with our captain leading us, it's safe. White Ming Ming nodded with a smile. Knight Sorrow's clone constantly corrected the route, as there were too many dragon-headed men and snake-headed men blocking the way. Zhuodong and the others knew that Yishang had put in a lot of effort to make White Ming Ming feel safe when she saw him constantly changing his route. Chapter 1881. This section isn't easy to traverse, said Long Jin. It's not easy, but there's a path after we cross it. Perhaps the path behind us is the path for the rise of the 100 Race Alliance, said Knight Sorrow. That might be a good thing. It's difficult for us to advance, but do you think it's easy for the Demon Wing clan and the Black Dragons? It's difficult for us to advance, but it's fine with Captain leading the way. If they don't have the ability, it might be very difficult for them to advance, said White Ming Ming. Knight Sorrow nodded at White Ming Ming. What White Ming Ming said was possible, but the probability was not high. The dragon-headed man had the bloodline of the Demon Wing clan. The appearance of the Demon Wing clan would affect them. When Long Jin appeared, the dragon-headed man had an innate fear. This was the suppression of the bloodline. Without saying anything, Knight Sorrow continued forward. In addition, he tested the strength of the spatial barrier with his domain. He found that he could enter, but the spatial barrier was very strong. Furthermore, the spatial turbulence was very terrifying, even more ruthless than Nirvana's storm. After some estimation, Knight Sorrow felt that he could only survive for 15 minutes in the spatial turbulence, even if he used the strongest state of his domain. After 15 minutes, the energy in his body would be exhausted. It could be used as an emergency escape method. However, he couldn't use it unless he had no other choice. After using it, he would be at the mercy of others if he had no energy left. As they advanced, battles occurred from time to time. However, Knight Sorrow calculated that he would only fight battles when he could control the situation. If he couldn't control the situation, he would have to take a detour, even if it meant wasting time. During the detour, Knight Sorrow would tell everyone which direction had which level and number of opponents. It's too dangerous, said Flower without words, as she patted her chest. This isn't the most dangerous place. The most dangerous place is the Broken Mountain area. You will understand when the time comes. Knight Sorrow shook his head. He already understood how terrifying the void purple light snake was. Brother 13, are you talking about the void purple light snake that the dragon-headed man mentioned? Tianyu asked. Yes, it's a terrifying creature. Knight Sorrow explained the void purple light snake situation to everyone. Supreme attributes, incredible speed, devouring all forms of energy, and penetrating all defenses with a single point. How are we supposed to fight against such a perverted thing? Are we just looking for trouble if we go? Tiger Cold said. Everyone's expression did not look too good. Tiger Cold, the remains of Renhuang are extremely important to the 100 Races Alliance. Even if we die in battle, we have to go. This is the glory of the First Blood Army. The soldiers of the First Blood Army will not cower in battle. After hearing Tiger Cold's words, Zhuodong and the sergeants of the First Army were dissatisfied because it was not the style of the First Army to retreat. Oh no, everyone misunderstood. I won't back down. I'm just expressing my shock, Tiger Cold explained. He didn't want others to think that he was afraid of death because of what he said just now. Tiger Cold is not that kind of person. Besides, the captain must have his own ideas. We just need to move forward according to his tactical arrangement. Flower, without words, explained for Tiger Cold. I don't know if my idea will work or not, but don't worry. Night Sorrow, will never cheat others. When we arrive at the Broken Mountain, I'll give it a try. If I can withstand it, we'll take the risk. If not, I'll take you back even if my doppelganger dies, Night Sorrow said. In the past, the First Blood Army's missions were all open battles. This is the first time we've accepted such a difficult mission. According to Captain Tang Kei's character, he can't fight this battle. Fortunately, Captain Knight is here. Otherwise, we would have been annihilated, so Dong said. Let's try our best. If we succeed, we'll be proud of ourselves when we look back one day. Night Sorrow nodded to Zhuodong. Originally, we planned to earn some military merits in the First Blood Army and show them off when we return to our family. But we didn't expect that the pressure would be so great. But it's good. The greater the pressure and the greater the difficulty, the more glorious the future will be, Flower Without Words said. Well, we'll set up camp after 10,000 miles. Today, I'll have a drink with my brothers and sisters, Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow knew that the difficulty of this mission had brought pressure to everyone. Although everyone was determined, if they didn't release the pressure, they would feel depressed, which was not good for the morale of the team. When they arrived at the safe place where Night Sorrow's doppelganger camped, Long Jean and Tianyu took out the wine and meat and put them on the table. Brother, you're well prepared. It doesn't look like a life-or-death mission at all. It's more like a trip. Tiger Cold sat down next to Long Jean. You can't do it. Just now, your face was like an old woman's. Tianyu and I have carried out many life-or-death missions with the captain. Every time, we've completed them perfectly. It's no different from a trip. So, we have to be comfortable during the process, Long Jean said. Yes, you can't do it. You haven't seen the world, Tianyu said after drinking a glass of wine. Tianyu, you've only lived for a few hundred years. How can you say that you haven't seen the world with me? A practitioner who has lived for hundreds of millions of years. Bai Lingling looked at Tianyu with dissatisfaction. Yes, I'm talking about you. How many times have you participated in the War of Forces, Realm Wars, and Realm Wars? How many times have you entered the harsh alien space? How many times have you been on the verge of death? Tianyu asked. Bai Lingling pointed at Tianyu, but couldn't say anything. Tianyu made it sound like she hadn't experienced it before. We're like flowers in a greenhouse. Tianyu, Long Jean, and the captain are different. Now, Brother 13 can defeat any practitioner of the same level as us. Not just Brother 13, Long Jean can do it, and Tianyu can do it too. So, our lives are wonderful. Of course, after this incident, your lives will be wonderful too, Tianyu said. Although I'm angry looking at your face, I have to say that what you said does make sense, Bai Lingling said. Believe in yourself. Believe in the brothers who fight side by side. Believe in me, Night Sorrow. Then, this journey will be a happy one. It will be a journey worth remembering, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Our glorious journey begins when we enter the First Army and fight side by side with the captain. Captain, do you want to accept this glass of wine? Bai Lingling raised the glass in her hand to Night Sorrow. Of course, why wouldn't I accept it? Night Sorrow said with a smile. He had achieved his goal of drinking wine. What he wanted was the momentum and the atmosphere. Captain, we're holding you back. But we'll do it until the end, Zhuodong said. Nonsense. You may not be able to stop the void purple light snakes, but do you expect me to kill the Demon Wing clan and the Black Dragons? That's your business, haha, Night Sorrow said with a laugh. Chapter 1882. After resting for a night, Night Sorrow's doppelganger continued to scout while his main body led the team and maintained a safe distance. Look, plus square root, chapter, section, NZK, Night Sorrow was even mentally prepared for his doppelganger to fall. With a 9-region origin pearl in his doppelganger's divine, C to protect his soul, if his doppelganger fell, he could take his treasures and soul and retreat. If he died in battle, he would lose a doppelganger, but his soul's perfection wouldn't be destroyed. Their advancing speed slowed down because they had to avoid fighting. Fighting under Devil Mountain was unlucky. There were many Emperor-ranked dragon-headed and snake-headed people, and Night Sorrow had scouted them a few times. This time, when they were advancing, a crisis occurred. Night Sorrow's biggest crisis after entering Reincarnation Battlefield was discovered by an 8-star Emperor rank, which was a middle-class Emperor rank. Run! Night Sorrow made a decision. Not to mention the huge difference between middle-class Emperor and middle-class Emperor rank. Once the battle started, other dragon-headed people would appear, and it would be a dead end. Holding the blood-chilling, evil-punishing spear, Night Sorrow pierced through the spatial barrier and flashed into the spatial turbulence. His left hand flattened the spatial barrier, and he flew in the spatial turbulence. His doppelganger avoided battle, while Night Sorrow's main body used his soul power to wrap the First Army's soldiers into the clear sky divine pagoda. He then smashed the ground and hid. The main body and the First Army soldiers weren't too far away from where his doppelganger was discovered, so Night Sorrow had to be careful. The dragon-headed emperor arrived at where Night Sorrow disappeared and looked around. It also smashed the spatial barrier, but didn't find anything. Night Sorrow had already flown away. Its soul power had a limited range in the spatial turbulence, so it couldn't find any traces of Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow flew in the spatial turbulence for a while before meeting up with the main body and entering the clear sky divine pagoda. Brother 13, what's the situation? Tianyu asked. A middle-class emperor rank dragon-headed man discovered me. I can't fight. Let's not talk about how powerful a middle-class emperor is. Once they fight, it will definitely cause a commotion and attract more and more dragon-headed people. When that time comes, we will truly be dead. Night Sorrow said, middle-class emperor rank, this is a bit too powerful. Bilingling said, 13th brother, didn't you kill a few early-stage emperor rank dragon-headed men? Can't you kill mid-stage emperor rank ones? Tianyu asked, if we fight without any hesitation, the outcome will be uncertain. But we can't do that now, Night Sorrow said. After drinking a mouthful of wine and arranging for guards, Night Sorrow sat cross-legged and thought about this mission. At this moment, Tianji was leading the team towards Broken Mountain from another direction. She was rushing based on her memory. If a dragon headman appeared on the road, she would first release her aura. Then, her white hair would flutter and wrap around the opponent before tearing them apart. Tianji was pushing her way forward. Compared to Night Sorrow, they were two completely different styles. The main point was that the Dragon Headman and Snake Headman had an innate fear of her. It came from their bloodline and soul spirit suppression. This was her advantage over Night Sorrow. Black Dragon's Gong Zibai led the team towards Broken Mountain under the lead of a Dragon Headman. Tianji and Gong Zibai's teams weren't slower than Night Sorrow's team. Of course, they weren't faster than Night Sorrow's team either. Although they had an innate advantage, they still had to avoid Devil Mountain because no one knew what the situation was inside. If Devil Mountain's Dragon Head and Snake Headman ancestors were extremely powerful and weren't suppressed by their bloodline, the consequences would be severe. Tianji was also afraid of this. She was now an Emperor rank Tianji. She wasn't afraid of low or middle-class emperors, but peak emperors and emperors that had passed the 9 heavenly Tao tribulations weren't something she could contend against. Tianji also subdued a Dragon Headman and asked about Broken Mountain's situation. After knowing that Broken Mountain was a forbidden ground for the Dragon Head and Snake Headman, she was relieved. This meant that the battle back then hadn't been touched by the Dragon Head and Snake Headman. However, after knowing about the Void Purple Light, Tianji wasn't confident. Night Sorrow didn't know much about the Void Purple Light Snake as he had received information from his subordinates. However, Tianji was different. She was a cultivator from the previous reincarnation and knew about the Void Purple Light Snake. Chapter 1883. $D. The woman that Tianji had fused with originally had black hair, but her soul had been wiped out by Tianji. After Tianji's soul fused with her body, her black hair was affected by her soul, and her black hair became silver. Her facial features and the proportions of her body changed, and the dignified woman became flirtatious. Imotianji's talent was imprinted in her soul. Now that her soul and body had fused, her talent naturally came with her. Imotianji was very confident in herself. Back then, even the human emperor's seal couldn't break her white hair. Therefore, she felt that she still had a chance to defend against the void purple light snake. The three parties approached Broken Mountain, the core of the reincarnation battlefield. Through Lin Piaomiao's message, the Lord of Desolation City, King Yuwu, and the Grand Elder also knew that Night Sorrow had passed the first obstacle. After crossing the Demon Mountain, there were dragon-headed people and snake-headed people blocking the way. Night Sorrow didn't avoid fighting. After confirming that there were no groups of dragon-headed and snake-headed people in the surroundings, Night Sorrow would make a move to kill them. The sergeants of the First Army were also wolves. If there was a battle, it would be a quick battle. The closer they got to Broken Mountain, the fewer dragon-headed people and snake-headed people blocking the way. Broken Mountain was a forbidden area in their memories. They wouldn't get close for no reason. This was a relatively safe area. There were no threats from the Demon Mountain and Broken Mountain. In a safe valley, Night Sorrow set up a realm transfer formation. Captain, you know how to do this? White Ming Ming looked at Night Sorrow in surprise. Huh, except for giving birth, I can do anything. Long Jean said with a smile as he watched Night Sorrow set up the transfer formation disc. After setting the transfer formation crystal on 2 transfer formation discs and putting them in a storage ring, Night Sorrow looked at everyone. We've completed the mission and need to find a place to cultivate for 2 years. This place is relatively good. First of all, the threat from the Demon Mountain and Broken Mountain doesn't extend to here. The situation in the sky above the valley is also good. The others nodded. Everyone had absolute faith in Night Sorrow. Following this, Night Sorrow led a group of people to quickly advance. Because the danger had decreased, Bai Lingling and Zhongjio's clones also started to scout ahead in order to make things easier for Night Sorrow. The closer they got to Broken Mountain, the stronger the pull from the human emperor's seal in Night Sorrow's Dantian became. Captain, this is bad. I encountered a void purple light snake. Bai Lingling's expression changed, her eyes filled with fear and shock. Everyone, stay where you are. Take me there. Yishan shouted at Bai Lingling's true body. With Bai Lingling's true body in front, she flew forward with Night Sorrow. After a few breaths of time, Night Sorrow saw Bai Lingling's clone. At this moment, Bai Lingling's clone was in great pain and there were bloodstains on her chest. As soon as Night Sorrow probed, he discovered the problem. There was a purple light swimming around Bai Lingling's body. Her body had already been damaged to the point where it was riddled with holes. The purple light kept hitting her Dantian. Retreat. Night Sorrow held the human emperor's seal in his left hand and pressed his right hand on Bai Lingling's Dantian. The power of merit from the human Dao ceremony entered Bai Lingling's Dantian and spread throughout her body. At this moment, the purple light in Bai Lingling's body slowed down and could no longer travel freely. Bai Lingling, you have to bear with it. Night Sorrow turned his head and glanced at Bai Lingling's true body. Bai Lingling nodded. She was very worried now. Her clone was resisting the void purple light snake with all her strength, but if she couldn't hold on, her clone would be destroyed. Using the power of merit to suppress it, Night Sorrow noticed that the purple light had reached below Bai Lingling's chest. Come out! Night Sorrow retracted his right hand from Bai Lingling's Dantian and pierced his index and middle fingers into Bai Lingling's body. He then pinched the purple light and withdrew his arm. At this moment, there was a purple light dancing in the middle of Night Sorrow's fingers. It was a purple snake that was only as thick as a chopstick. Night Sorrow's domain appeared on his right hand. The level 6 domain, supported by the power of merit, suppressed the void purple light snake. Then he clasped his left thumb and index finger and flicked it. With a crisp sound, the void purple light snake's body lay limply on Night Sorrow's right hand. Night Sorrow flicked its head and it fainted. Night Sorrow swung his hand and threw the void purple light snake into the 8-dragon cauldron to suppress it. He had to study it. At this moment, Bai Lingling's clone woke up. The body of a divine beast was tyrannical. After the void purple light snake left her body, her injuries recovered by 70%. Then, she merged with her true body. "Are you okay?" Night Sorrow asked. "The void purple light snake had been in my body for a long time. You touched and pinched me. How can I be okay?" Bai Lingling stared at Night Sorrow. "You are really unreasonable." Night Sorrow's body flashed and rushed to the team, led by his true body. "TSK, we've turned danger into safety. We can't even crack a joke," Bai Lingling muttered, then followed Yishan. "Sister Lingling, are you okay?" Bai Mingming looked at Bai Lingling and asked. Fortunately, the captain arrived in time. Otherwise, I would have been in trouble. The void purple light snake was too terrifying. I attacked it hundreds of times in an instant, but I couldn't pierce its body. It broke through its protective shield and drilled into its body. It was the captain who pulled it out. Bai Lingling said, "It's really a deadly thing." Bai Mingming said, she could imagine the horrible scene. "Everyone, stay where you are. Zhuodong, arrange for people to be on guard." Night Sorrow ordered. After speaking, Night Sorrow took out the Haotian godly pagoda. His doppelganger carried the cauldron of 8 dragons and entered the level where time was slowed down. Night Sorrow released the void purple light snake. He wanted to test it. However, for safety reasons, he planned to let his doppelganger test it while his true body observed it. At this time, the void purple light snake had woken up. However, it didn't rush around because the Haotian godly pagoda was foggy. It didn't realize that it was in a special space. When it saw Night Sorrow, it rushed toward him. Realm. Night Sorrow released his level 5 realm. Night Sorrow knew that he would encounter more void purple light snakes in the future. Therefore, whether he could defend against them or not was a critical issue. Its speed was reduced by half. Night Sorrow released his level 5 realm to suppress the void purple light snake. The speed of the void purple light snake was reduced by half, but it was still very fast. Blessing of the power of merit. If ordinary realms couldn't do it, Night Sorrow used the power of merit. As the words of the human Tao ceremony flowed in the realm, the void purple light snake slowed down completely. It was like a small snake swimming in water. Seeing that the void purple light snake was suppressed by the power of merit, Night Sorrow was relieved. He then withdrew his realm. He wanted to see if his virtuous immortal body could withstand the void purple light snake. Whoosh! When Yishang retracted his domain, the void purple light snake collided with Yishang's body and made a loud noise. Chapter 1884. The void purple light snake kept hitting Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow was in great pain, but he could still bear it. The void purple light snake could not break the defense of his merit's immortal body, so it could not enter his body. After struggling for a while, Night Sorrow released his merit's field and suppressed the void purple light snake. Then he caught it again and went out of the Haotian godly pagoda. "Captain, is that the void purple light snake in your hand? Give it to me." Long Jean asked. "You want it? You want it? It's a deadly thing." Night Sorrow smiled. "Let's try it. I want to know if I can deal with it." Golden scales appeared on Long Jin's right hand. Then he grabbed the void purple light snake and took it from Night Sorrow. Without the suppression of the merit energy, the void purple light snake circled around Long Jin's hand and even tried to burrow into his body. The golden scales on Long Jin's right hand were flickering with energy. He was still able to resist the void purple light snake. "Captain, hurry up and take it away. I can defend against it, but it eats energy too quickly," Long Jean shouted at Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow smiled and grabbed the void purple light snake. Then he knocked it out and threw it into the space inside the human emperor's seal. Night Sorrow did not dare to use the Haotian godly pagoda and the 8-dragon cauldron to trap the void purple light snake. He was afraid that the void purple light snake would make a hole in his magic treasure. However, the human emperor's seal was full of merit's field, so it could suppress the void purple light snake easily. G-positive dollar version, T-head, G-hair. This thing is really terrible. My golden scales can resist it, but it won't last long. Others can't touch it. Long Jin's right hand returned to normal. Up ahead is the area where the void purple light snakes appear. Everyone, set up camp here. I'll go check it out, Yishang said. With the appearance of the void purple light snakes, Yishang naturally couldn't let the team continue taking risks. No, even if we die in battle, we can't let our captain take the risk. So Dong shook his head. The First Army would never abandon their brothers. Zhuodong, it's not about the number of people. So what if the Demon Wing clan and the Black Dragons have more members? Encountering the Nihility Purple Light Snake was equivalent to courting death. All right, this matter is settled, the page said. Night Sorrow, other people might not be able to hold on, but I can. That's why I'm going with you. Don't refuse. If you refuse, it means that you don't treat me as a brother. Can you? Don't say anything. Your defense isn't as good as mine. Long Jin stated his decision. At the same time, he stopped Tianyu from speaking. Looking at Long Jin, Night Sorrow smiled. Sure, but I have a request. What's your request? Tell me. Long Jin was surprised to see Yishang agree. You're the only one in our team who can hold off the void purple light snakes for a while. Therefore, your true body should stay behind. If one or two void purple light snakes appear, you can still kill them and protect the safety of our brothers and sisters. Night Sorrow voiced his thoughts. Since you said so, I won't give you face if I don't agree. Okay, my original body has a space magic treasure. With the help of the void purple light snake, I can protect everyone. Long Jin nodded. Zhuodong, take our brothers and prepare for the battle. If Long Jin and I succeed, the Demon Wing clan and the Black Dragons will go crazy. When the battle starts, we must fight together, Night Sorrow said. Since there was no way to change the situation, Zhuodong could only nod. Brother San, Long Jin, you must come back safely, Tianyu said. Nodding to Tianyu, Night Sorrow and Long Jin set off. Captain, I can't play a big role in the Broken Mountain area. You can deal with the Void Purple Light Snakes and other Void Purple Light Snakes. I'll help you when it's necessary, Long Jin said to Night Sorrow. Long Jin was a smart man. He knew what was going to happen next. If he acted carelessly, Night Sorrow would have to protect him and he would become a burden. You just need to know that we're invincible when we fight side by side, Night Sorrow said with a smile. Long Jin nodded. Although there was danger at every step, he felt at ease. He had known Night Sorrow for a long time. He knew Night Sorrow's character and believed in Night Sorrow's words. They were invincible when they fought side by side. After a while, the void purple light snakes appeared and rushed toward Night Sorrow and Long Jin. Long Jin, enter my spatial magical treasure. I'll talk to the artifact's spirit. You can come and go freely. Night Sorrow released his merit domain and greeted Shao Kahn. At the same time, he put the clear sky pagoda on his waist to make it easier for Long Jin to come and go. Long Jin didn't say anything and entered the clear sky pagoda on Night Sorrow's waist in a flash. After the suppression of the domain, Night Sorrow used his reincarnation spear to launch the Void Extreme Kill. As the purple halo burst out, the void purple light snake was annihilated by the void energy. Captain, your domain is too strong. Don't suppress me. I can fight in your domain. Long Jin appeared beside Night Sorrow again. You're right. I didn't think about that. Let's continue. Night Sorrow patted his forehead. Night Sorrow relied on the feeling brought by the human emperor's seal and walked forward in a straight line. If a void purple light snake appeared, he and Long Jin would kill it. The void purple light snake was hard to kill and hard to block. The key was that the void purple light snake could shuttle through the void at an extremely fast speed. Attacks and interceptions would all miss and suppress its speed, but it was not impossible to kill it. Captain, why do you keep collecting their corpses? I understand. You're doing it for the void energy. Seeing that Night Sorrow would instantly collect the corpses and energy of the void purple light snake every time they killed it, Long Jin asked. However, he soon understood. Pure void energy. This is rare. We can't waste it. Night Sorrow said. Then, the two of them continued to move forward. With the suppression of Night Sorrow's domain, It was easy for Long Jean to kill the void purple light snake. When a void purple light snake did not appear, Night Sorrow and Long Jean advanced quickly. In a situation where they did not understand their opponent, the right choice was to speed up. In the other two directions, Immortality had the Demon Wing clan warriors wait for her in the camp while she went to Broken Sky Mountain alone. She was also advancing quickly, but her situation was not as good as Night Sorrow's. She only used her 3,000 feet long white hair to form a net to protect herself. She could not kill the void purple light snake and could only continue to advance. When she used up too much energy, Immortality entered her spatial treasure and shrunk it to the minimum. This way, the void purple light snake's attack would be less effective. The spatial treasure had an artifact spirit and could recover with spiritual stones. Night Sorrow's recovery method was the same as Immortality's. When he used up too much energy, he entered the Hao Yin godly pagoda to recover. Chapter 1885. Night Sorrow and Immortality advanced quickly, but Gong Zibai encountered difficulties. After encountering the void purple light snake, 2 members of the team were killed. The other members self-destructed to kill the void purple light snake. Under such circumstances, Gong Zibai couldn't advance and could only think of countermeasures. Captain, there are more and more void purple light snakes. This is an opportunity for you, Long Jean said with a smile after killing another 3 void purple light snakes. Not bad. We're not too far away from our goal. Let's take care of business first. Then, we can play however we want, Yishan said. Because of the human emperor's seal, Night Sorrow could determine the direction. Of course, Immortality also had her own methods. She had 2 strands of hair wrapped around her finger. They were the hair of the sleeping demon ancestor. At this moment, the 2 strands of hair were shining and guiding Immortality forward. Immortality felt that if she could get the human emperor's remains, she wouldn't even need to go to the celestial realm to get her body back. Because the human emperor's remains were too important to the human race and the celestial realm, the races of the celestial realm would pressure Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had no choice but to hand over her body. Even if she wanted Jun Xuanji, the races of the celestial realm would send him over. Night Sorrow and Long Jean advanced quickly. The void purple light snakes they encountered were getting more and more powerful. There were strong and weak void purple light snakes. Realms and strength couldn't be differentiated, only size. The bigger the snake, the more powerful it was. A void purple light snake, as thick as a chopstick, could hurt an imperial emperor. Night Sorrow estimated that a void purple light snake, as thick as a finger, would have no problem killing an imperial emperor. Yishan and Long Jean cut through the thistles and thorns as they quickly advanced. Yishan was very clear that no one had succeeded yet, because he could still feel the human emperor's seal. If they hurried to the location first, then the mission would be completed. Broken Sky Mountain was the first mountain in the reincarnation battlefield. It was a mountain range that stretched endlessly. The main peak was tens of thousands of feet high. Currently, Night Sorrow and Long Jean were charging towards the main peak. Night Sorrow's main body alternated with his doppelganger to fight. He advanced almost non-stop in order to maximize the efficiency of his advance. Long Jean was worried that Night Sorrow would expend too much energy, so he was the one who killed the void purple light snakes. However, as they went deeper, Night Sorrow had to rest even if he didn't want to. There were too many void purple light snakes, and his energy consumption was relatively high. Captain, if you can control the void purple light snake and release it to Tian Huang, the Demon Wing clan of Tian Huang will be finished, Long Jean said, while wielding his blade. This is a special location, a special product. They won't easily leave their original stronghold, Night Sorrow explained. IG hashtag Long Jean nodded. He also understood that before they reached the Broken Sky Mountain, they did not encounter any purple light snakes. In order to maintain his condition, Night Sorrow still rested when he needed to. In any case, The clear sky god pagoda had a 50-fold time acceleration. If he recovered, it would not take much time in the real world. Night Sorrow and Long Jean had already reached the foot of the main peak. Night Sorrow felt that they were getting closer and closer to their goal. Long Jean, if I'm not wrong, we will reach our destination in another hour, Night Sorrow said when they rested again. Captain, can you confirm it? Long Jean asked. Yes, I have the human sovereign seal. The human sovereign seal is connected to the human sovereign of the previous reincarnation. Therefore, there has always been a guiding force. The Demon Wing clan's Tianhuang war halberd should also be in that area. As long as we find the human sovereign's remains, finding the Tianhuang war halberd should not be a problem. Night Sorrow took out a jar of wine and threw it to Long Jean. Both of them were exhausted after fighting with the void purple light snakes at such a high intensity. Night Sorrow and Long Jean each drank half a jar of wine, rested for a while, and continued to move forward. The two of them were getting closer and closer to the main peak of the Broken Sky Mountain. When they stood at the top of the main peak of the Broken Sky Mountain, Night Sorrow saw a scene that shocked his heart. A man in white stood there, looking at the sky. His gaze was fixed on one spot. It was a gaze that looked down on the world. It was a gaze that looked down on everything as if it was nothing. There was no life force, no soul. It was just a skeleton standing on the mountain peak. The human sovereign's skeleton. Night Sorrow confirmed that it was the human sovereign skeleton because Night Sorrow found that the skeleton was a body of merit. Captain, is that the skeleton of the human emperor? Long Jean was also very shocked. A lifeless skeleton gave him a very strong pressure. Yes, the human sovereign skeleton. Night Sorrow nodded and walked towards the skeleton. When they were still some distance away from the skeleton, an energy halo appeared and sent Night Sorrow and Long Jean, who had followed them, flying. Night Sorrow noticed that it was the Tao aura produced by the human sovereign skeleton. The energy wave that was activated prevented him and Long Jean from moving forward. This is too powerful. After being sent 100 miles away, Night Sorrow helped Long Jean to stabilize his body. His eyes were filled with astonishment. Long Jean, go into the spatial treasure first. I'll try to get closer. Night Sorrow said to Long Jean. Okay. Long Jean nodded. His body flashed and entered the Haotian godly pagoda at Night Sorrow's waist. Night Sorrow walked towards the human sovereign skeleton again. At the same time, he held the human sovereign seal in his hand. When the halo of Tao aura appeared again, Night Sorrow's power of merit erupted and activated the human sovereign seal. The words of the human sovereign's Tao Te Sutra flowed on Night Sorrow's body. The halo of Tao aura produced by the human sovereign skeleton rippled in all directions, but it did not attack Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow walked step by step towards the human sovereign skeleton. With the power of merit protecting his body, Night Sorrow walked until he was 10 feet away from the human sovereign skeleton. Senior Human Sovereign, I, Night Sorrow, am here to welcome you back. Night Sorrow cupped his hands towards the human sovereign skeleton. After paying his respects, Night Sorrow raised the human sovereign seal. Then, the human sovereign seal exploded with an intense golden light. The golden light wrapped around the human sovereign skeleton and put it into the space of the human sovereign seal. Worried that the void purple light snake would threaten the human sovereign skeleton, Night Sorrow wanted to transfer it out. He discovered that the void purple light snake was hiding in a corner of the human sovereign seal. It was trembling and did not move forward. This situation made Night Sorrow feel relieved. Then he transferred Long Jean out of the Haotian God's Pagoda. Look around here. Back then, this was a battlefield. The ancestral devil's weapon, the Sky Desolation Halberd, should be nearby. After searching for an hour, Night Sorrow found a huge pit at the bottom of the cliff. There was a crimson halberd in the pit. It was too big. It was more than 2 feet long. The handle was as thick as Night Sorrow's calf. Night Sorrow reached out to pull it out, but it did not budge. It's heavy, Night Sorrow muttered. At the same time, his avatar and Long Jean came over. Found it. Long Jean was very excited because this meant that the mission was completed. Rise. Night Sorrow grabbed the long handle of the Sky Desolation halberd and began to exert force. He slowly pulled out the Sky Desolation halberd from ground. Stop! Go to hell! When Night Sorrow pulled out the Sky Desolation halberd, Immortality appeared. She did not expect that Night Sorrow would beat her to it. However, she felt that it was not too late. As long as she killed Night Sorrow, she could take back the Sky Desolation halberd. Night Sorrow's soul power evolved. He threw the Sky Desolation halberd into the Hao-Yin God's pagoda. However, after throwing it twice, he did not throw it in. Chapter 1886. The Sky Desolate War halberd was too heavy. Night Sorrow felt that if he hadn't cultivated his body, he wouldn't have been able to lift it at all. He couldn't estimate how heavy it was. Night Sorrow ran in front, while Immortality chased from behind. Immortality's speed was too fast. Even after using Void Step, Night Sorrow was barely able to maintain his distance. Captain, let's just kill her. Longjin appeared and returned to the clear sky godly pagoda after a palm strike. Run first. Don't come out. This woman isn't that easy to kill. Night Sorrow communicated with Longjin. Longjin appeared to attack. He wanted to give Longjin time to return to the clear sky godly pagoda. This would delay their escape. Captain, you know her? Longjin asked. She's the Immortality I mentioned to you. She didn't possess the Emperor's body. She fused with it, Night Sorrow said to Longjin. Longjin didn't say anything. He didn't expect Night Sorrow to be right. Immortality was one of the three great heavens of the Demon Wing clan. She had lived for countless years. Whether it was combat experience, combat strength, or life experience, they couldn't compare to her. Kill. It definitely wasn't that easy to kill. Little brat, it's your bad luck to meet me. Let's see if you can run away today. Immortality was very excited because everything was in front of her. As long as she dealt with Night Sorrow, she would have the opportunity to rise again. She could also take back the fate of the Demon Wing clan. You're too arrogant. A woman who can't even control her body dares to say anything? Longjin provoked Immortality as Night Sorrow ran. What nonsense are you talking about? Immortality retorted when she heard Longjin's voice. Isn't your original body in the hands of our captain, the little cub you speak of, Yi Shang? Then wouldn't our captain be able to touch and play with her however she wanted? So what right do you have to be arrogant? After Longjin's voice came out, Night Sorrow's breathing became difficult, let alone Immortality. Longjin's words were too vicious. Immortality was one of the founders of the Demon Wing clan civilization. Longjin's words were no different from stabbing her in the heart. Night Sorrow, I will make you beg for death. Immortality was infuriated because she felt that this kind of situation was truly possible. If her body had truly been desecrated, she would have felt it and known. However, if it was just a touch, she still wouldn't know. Moreover, she felt that it was very possible. In her impression, Night Sorrow wasn't a good person. So excited, Night Sorrow noticed that Immortality's aura was unstable, which affected her speed. He did not try to defend himself against the dirty water that Longjin had splashed on him because it was very harmful to Immortality. Little brat, Immortality didn't know how to vent her anger. The 3,000 feet long white hair attacked Night Sorrow's back. However, the distance between them wasn't within her attack range. Her attacks all landed behind Night Sorrow. Her thighs are very white, and that's also very big. Seeing that it was effective, Night Sorrow also started a verbal battle. Immortality was too vicious. He had no choice but to play along with Longjin's words and use psychological warfare. Immortality stopped cursing. She used her domain to increase her speed. Her white hair tore through space and whipped towards Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow also used his domain to increase his speed and increase the distance between them. However, he was still very close to Immortality's attack range. The distance between them was less than 3,000 feet. However, Immortality's white hair needed time to fly. Attacking Night Sorrow, who was flying at extreme speed, The attack range of the 3,000 feet white hare was only half of that. Captain, how does it feel to touch one of the three great heavens of the Demon Wing clan? Long Jean was very naughty. He realized that Immortality was hitting where it hurt. That goes without saying. Huh. Night Sorrow was now confident. Immortality's speed was almost the same as his. It wouldn't be easy for her to catch up to him. After running for a while, Night Sorrow's clone appeared. Then, he switched places with his original body and carried the Sky Desolate war halberd. His original body entered the Haotian godly pagoda to rest. He had to be in peak condition at all times. Night Sorrow's original body and clone switched places to rest. Immortality couldn't switch places. She didn't have a clone. This woman is too vicious. She rushed all the way to where we found the Sky Desolate war halberd. She didn't rest or recover. If she was in peak condition, we would be in a dire situation. Night Sorrow greeted Long Jean and entered the area where time was 50 times faster to recover. Seeing Night Sorrow's original body and clone switch places, Immortality's beautiful eyes flashed. She was extremely annoyed. Night Sorrow was too infuriating. If it was in the past, she could deal with Night Sorrow with just a strand of her hair, let alone a finger. Even now, if she was in peak condition, it wouldn't be a problem. In order to make the best use of time, she flew all the way. The energy in her body was less than 50% of her usual. In the chase, the two left the battlefield of Broken Sky Mountain. The Void Purple Light Snake also appeared. Night Sorrow used his virtuous domain to suppress the Void Purple Light Snake. After the Void Purple Light Snake couldn't attack him, he continued to run. Immortality couldn't take it anymore. She retracted her white hair that was attacking Night Sorrow from time to time and formed a protective cocoon to block the Void Purple Light Snake's attacks. Under such circumstances, her speed slowed down. However, Night Sorrow's speed didn't change. The gap between the two began to widen. Alexia knew fastest Alexia. Night Sorrow, when I catch you, I'll bite you to death to relieve the hatred in my heart. Immortality cursed as she chased. Hurry up and take back what you just said. I've refined 2 clones, and one is outside. If you treat me like this, I'm going to do something to your body. If it's now, can you still chase me so hard? Yishan shouted at Immortality, who was trying to intimidate him. Don't forget your promise to the Devil Wing clan. Did you take those resources for nothing? Immortality was furious. What kind of situation is this? You're telling me this? Besides, how did I negotiate with that idiot from your Devil Wing clan? I promised you that I wouldn't give your body to anyone else. Listen carefully, I won't give it to anyone else. So, no matter what I want to do, I won't go back on my promise, Night Sorrow shouted. 2 clones? Are you trying to scare me? Immortality's soul power supported the energy in her body. She maintained her speed to keep up with Night Sorrow and not be left behind. How can I prove it? Then I'll have to test your body. You'll feel it, Night Sorrow said. At this time, Night Sorrow's 9 clones were in the space below Sealed Sky God Tower. If he could scare Immortality away, that would be the best result. Of course, Yishan couldn't do such a blasphemy. He looked at Immortality's body, which seemed to be sleeping soundly. Night Sorrow reached out and grabbed a white thread. He pulled, but the result was different from what Night Sorrow expected. He didn't break it all. Chapter 1887. Little brat, stop right now. Immortality screamed at Night Sorrow. 3,000 feet white hair was one of her talents. If a strand of her hair was pulled off, her soul would naturally feel it. If you keep chasing, I will rip off your clothes. Don't think I'm a petty person. You are an old demon from the Demon Wing clan. I can do anything to protect myself. Night Sorrow threatened Immortality. Immortality stopped. She really didn't dare to continue chasing because she knew that Yishang still had a clone outside. In order to survive and attack her, it was possible that he would do anything. Not bad. Don't chase. Night Sorrow carried the Sky Baron war halberd and continued running. Seeing Knight Sorrow's straight body under the Sky Baron war halberd, Tianji felt that Knight Sorrow was her nemesis. As long as she fought against Knight Sorrow, she would definitely be at a disadvantage. Seeing Knight Sorrow disappear, Tianji entered her spatial treasure to recover. She was in a bad state and couldn't do anything. She knew this very well. Tianji recovered from the time acceleration and continued to fly towards the area she sensed. At this moment, her mind was filled with Knight Sorrow. When she thought of Knight Sorrow's domain of golden light, Tianji bit her lips. She knew she had been tricked. That was the power of merits. Back then, Knight Sorrow also used his power of merits to help Yin Wushuang trick her. Tianji estimated that Knight Sorrow's power of merits was at the peak of the Emperor level. It was not easy to obtain this power of merits. It was the recognition of the heavenly Tao. There were some things he wouldn't do. Tianji was very angry. She felt that being forced to retreat by a little brat was a deep humiliation. If she didn't deal with Knight Sorrow, then Knight Sorrow would become her heart demon that could never be removed. Knight Sorrow carried the Sky Baron war halberd and ran. He was also dizzy because he couldn't put it away no matter what he did. Long Jean, help me think of a way. Knight Sorrow said to Long Jean, I will help you hold it for a while. Long Jean appeared in Knight Sorrow's domain and carried the Sky Baron war halberd. Holding the Sky Baron war halberd, Long Jean staggered. What is this thing? You should carry it yourself. I can carry it, but I don't have the speed. Knight Sorrow had no choice but to continue running while carrying the halberd. He didn't know how to put it away. If he didn't put it away, then the danger would always be there. The reason was very simple. If Tianji could find the Sky Wasteland Combat halberd, then it was very likely that she was related to it. If he didn't put it away, then he would be constantly hunted down by Tianji. Knight Sorrow's 9-domain doppelganger found Lin Piao and asked her to ask the Grand Elder and the others how to resolve this matter. When he came, no one told him. King Yu, the mayor, and the Grand Elder, who had not left the heavenly wasteland city, were very happy when they heard this because Knight Sorrow had succeeded. K0 Y Yong 4 Geo 5 Free F Fee caret look at RZ small. Saying, Piao Miao, we all know that space treasures of the same level can accommodate each other. This principle is also applicable in other places. The Sky Baron war halberd is the most precious treasure of the Demon Wing clan. It's the weapon of destiny of the Demon Wing clan. If it isn't refined, no space treasure can contain it. The mayor said. Knight Sorrow didn't have time to study or refine it. Tianji is chasing him. He said that the halberd is extremely heavy. Lin Piao was a little anxious. I thought that after countless years, the Sky Baron war halberd was just a weapon. Even if the Demon Wing clan took it back, they would have to use the destiny of the entire clan to nourish it. Our people can also take it, but the situation is different from what we expected. The Sky Baron war halberd is still the same weapon. Tell Knight Sorrow that his own safety is the most important thing. If he can't use the Sky Baron war halberd, then throw it away. The mayor said, Throw away the Sky Baron war halberd? Isn't that too regretful? The Grand Elder said unwillingly. The weapon of destiny of the Demon Wing clan isn't that easy to take. If Knight Sorrow was an emperor and a cultivator of the 9 emperor's trials of the heavenly Tao, he might be able to handle it if he had time. But now that he has it, it's a crisis. King Yu said, Let's do that. Piao Miao, tell Knight Sorrow to throw it away if he can't use it. The mayor made the decision. Lin Piao Miao left the Sky Baron city and returned to the 9 regions world. She told Knight Sorrow's clone about the mayor, King Yu, and the Grand Elder's decision. Throw it away? No way. I spent so much effort and ran so far with it. Now you want me to throw it away? Let the Demon Wing clan take it back? Absolutely not. Knight Sorrow was unwilling. He didn't want the Demon Wing clan to take back the Sky Baron war halberd. In the reincarnation battlefield, Knight Sorrow's clone was still running with the Sky Baron war halberd. The original body in the Hao Yian Godly Pagoda was also discussing countermeasures with Long Jean. We can't throw it away. It's obviously something good. After hearing the mayor, King Yawu, and the Grand Elder's decision, Long Jean was also unwilling. We definitely won't throw it away. Even if we run with Mo Tianji for 2 years, we won't throw it away. Knight Soro's attitude was also very firm. Captain, maybe that woman was scared by us and stopped chasing us. Long Jean said. Impossible. She'll definitely chase after us. She might even attack us from the shadows. She's the third Grand Heaven of the Demon Wing clan. She was once one of the strongest experts of the Demon Wing clan. Her will is very strong. She's not someone we can destroy with just a few words. Yishan shook his head. You can't really do anything to her body. This is indeed a problem. Long Jean understood Knight Sorrow and knew that there were some things that Knight Sorrow wouldn't do. Yes, if you can think of it, how can that smart and cunning woman not think of it? So the two of us are now in danger. Knight Sorrow said, then we'll study you while running. We'll prepare to play with her for 2 years. Long Jean was also a ruthless person. His will was also very firm. Then we won't leave Broken Sky Mountain. My light of virtue can suppress the void purple light snake. So I have an advantage over her. When my original body refines it, my doppelganger will be on guard with you. When she appears, we'll fight. If we can't win, we'll run. Running away is not a problem. Then we'll find a place to refine it. Knight Sorrow spoke his thoughts. I like this tactic. Let's begin, Long Jean said with a smile. After finding a place without the void purple light snake, Knight Sorrow released the Hao Yan godly pagoda. His original body sat at the top of the pagoda and studied the sky desolation halberd in time acceleration. His doppelganger and Long Jean were on guard. When the void purple light snake appeared, Knight Sorrow released his light of virtue domain. Then he and Long Jean began to kill it. Knight Sorrow placed the sky desolation halberd on his legs and held the human emperor's seal in his left hand. He activated the fire of virtue and rushed towards the sky desolation halberd. Mo Tianji, who was flying according to the guidance of the demon ancestor's hair on her finger, realized that her target was not moving. She increased her speed. Originally, she thought that Knight Sorrow couldn't put away the sky desolation halberd. He would either abandon it or continue to run. He shouldn't stop. Chapter 1888. In order to deal with the Sky Wasteland War Halberd as soon as possible, Knight Sorrow sent his virtuous fire and soul power into the Sky Wasteland War Halberd. Black energy. The Sky Wasteland War Halberd was filled with black destructive energy. The black destructive energy was extremely violent as it resisted Knight Sorrow's soul power and virtuous fire. WMost hashtag equals new chapter by Knight Sorrow controlled the virtuous fire and started refining the destructive energy within the Sky Wasteland War Halberd. In order to refine a magic treasure or weapon, the first step was to obliterate all other auras within the magic treasure or weapon. When a magic treasure or weapon was completely permeated and contaminated with one's own aura, the refinement of the magic treasure or weapon would be complete. Under the Hao Yan Godly Pagoda's time acceleration, Knight Sorrow's virtuous fire and soul power continued to battle with the energy within the Sky Wasteland War Halberd. As time passed, Knight Sorrow and Long Jin's alertness increased. The more time passed, the higher the possibility of Mo Tianji getting closer. 6 hours had passed in the real world, but Knight Sorrow's main body had refined it for more than 7 days. Knight Sorrow decided to leave. The longer he stayed, the more dangerous it would be. Knight Sorrow's doppelganger and main body switched places. He put Long Jean into the Hao Yan Godly Pagoda, and his doppelganger carried the Sky Wasteland War Halberd and started running. As soon as Knight Sorrow started running, Mo Tianji, who had been slowly moving within the spatial magic treasure, could not wait any longer. She could only attack. She was very angry. Just a little bit more. If she had a little more time, she would have been able to get closer and deal a heavy blow to Yishang. But because of Yishang's sudden decision, her plan was disrupted. Seeing Mo Tianji appear, Knight Sorrow released his domain. With the support of his domain, he used the void step to dodge Immerse's fluttering white hair attack and ran. Little brat, I used up a lot of energy last time and could not catch up to you. Let's see how you're going to run this time. Although she had lost the best chance to launch a sneak attack, Immerse was still very confident. You think too much. I don't care if you used up a lot or not. Knight Sorrow's doppelganger took out the blood-chilling, evil-slaying spear and used the Void Extreme Kill to break the spatial barrier. He did not slow down at all as he charged into the spatial turbulence. And supported by his domain to the maximum, he flew into the spatial magic treasure. Immerse had peak monarch cultivation. With her cultivation, peak monarch cultivation, and an even higher realm cultivation, she was a monarch realm monarch, and a peak monarch realm monarch. Yi and Yi could attacks. With was hers. Why did Knight Sorrow enter the spatial turbulence? It was because he heard Immerse's words. Last time, he could not catch up because he used up a lot of energy. This time, he did not use up any energy. Captain, leaving is a life-saving decision. If we left a little later and this woman came closer to launch a sneak attack, we would not be able to stop her. Long Jean, who was in the Haotian godly pagoda, said. He had seen the power of Immerse's white hair. It was too terrifying. Knight Sorrow's real body, who was standing beside Long Jean, took a sip of wine. I knew something was wrong, so this woman was hiding in the dark. She wants to bite us. Knight Sorrow's real body refined the sky wasteland war halberd. He used his power of virtue to activate the human emperor's seal. He continued to refine it. His consumption was also replenished. Being targeted by a woman like her is scarier than having a thorn in one's back. Long Ji nodded. He knew that if there was a monarch realm monarch who could fight against Immerse, it would be Knight Sorrow. But the others had no power to resist. He, Long Jean, could not out-scheme Immerse. He could fight, but he could not maintain it for long. Immerse's realm, combined with her monarch energy cultivation, allowed her to display the fighting strength of a high-class emperor. Knight Sorrow ran for a while before a void purple light snake appeared in the chaotic void. The void purple light snake was a void creature, so the spatial barrier was nothing to them. Whether it was the real world or the spatial turbulence, the void purple light snake would occupy it. Once the void purple light snake got close to Knight Sorrow's light of virtue domain, its speed would be suppressed. Knight Sorrow could use void step to dodge and continue flying. Immerse was powerful, but she did not have this advantage. She could only fly with her white hair wrapped around her body. This slowed her down and consumed more energy. The distance between her and Knight Sorrow grew. Hey, arrogant woman, who do you want to bite to death? Why don't you try biting? Seeing that they were safe, Long Jean began to verbally attack Immerse. Knight Sorrow, I will catch up to you and bite you to death. Immerse roared angrily. You can't even bite the captain's private part. Without needing Knight Sorrow to reply, Long Jean retorted, I will definitely bite. Immerse was so angry that she spoke without thinking. Huh, Immerse, you won't even let a man's private part go. Long Jean laughed loudly and passed through the clear sky, divine pagoda. Immerse's white face, filled with anger, turned red. She did not expect to fall into Long Jin's trap. Unable to verbally attack, Immerse did not say anything and just chased. Once she caught up, all verbal attacks were useless. In the chaotic void, Knight Sorrow and Immerse were both extremely fast. However, Immerse slowly fell behind because she had to defend against the void purple light snake while Knight Sorrow did not. Also, she was using up a lot of energy. Immerse stopped chasing. She knew that it was Knight Sorrow's clone who was flying with the Sky Desolate war halberd. Knight Sorrow's main body was still in good condition. After switching, she could not catch up even if she wanted to. In addition, Immerse was not afraid that Knight Sorrow would get lost. With the connection between the Sky Desolate war halberd and the Devil Ancestor's hair, She could find Night Sorrow at any time as long as she did not give Night Sorrow time. Immortality stopped chasing. Night Sorrow tore through space and returned to the real world to run. However, he used his main body. His clone was using up a lot of energy. Captain, this woman is too scary. If I get caught, she will at most kill me. But she will really bite your private part. Longjin and Night Sorrow returned to the clear sky divine pagoda and communicated with their clones. This fight shows that we can still run away from her. However, we must be careful when refining, Night Sorrow said. Then Longjin suggested that Night Sorrow should refine the Sky Desolate war halberd. The more time they had, the better. He would fight for that time. Longjin meant to go to the outskirts of Broken Sky Mountain, where there were no void purple light snakes. Then his main body would appear and fly with Night Sorrow and the clear sky divine pagoda. If Immortality wanted to get close, she would have to keep flying. She would not be able to recover to her peak state. But have you ever thought about how heavy the Sky Desolate war halberd is? Even if my main body was refining it at the top of the clear sky divine pagoda, you would still have to bear the weight, Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1889. If you can withstand it, then it's not a bad idea. Night Sorrow thought for a moment and felt that it was feasible. After the doppelganger recovered, Night Sorrow's original body and doppelganger switched places again. The doppelganger carried the Sky Desolation halberd and flew to the edge of Broken Sky Mountain. This was also the time for the original body to recover, because the original body's soul power was the most effective when refining treasures. After leaving the void purple light snakes area, Longjin appeared and turned into a 3,000-meter-long golden dragon. Night Sorrow's doppelganger entered the Haotian godly pagoda, which was 50 times faster to recover. His original body placed the Haotian godly pagoda between the two strongest front claws on Longjin's back. He went to the top of the Haotian godly pagoda and began to speed up the refining process. After leaving the void turbulence and recovering, Immortality realized something was wrong. The red hair on her finger was flashing chaotically and was not stable enough. This meant that Night Sorrow had not stopped. Immortality flew in the direction the hair was pointing, but after flying for a long time, she still could not find any trace of Night Sorrow and Longjin. She was puzzled because there was only one possibility in this situation. Night Sorrow had not stopped. In fact, Night Sorrow and Longjin had not stopped. Longjin had used up a lot of energy. Night Sorrow's doppelganger appeared and flew with the Haotian godly pagoda. While Night Sorrow's doppelganger was flying, Longjin recovered in the Haotian godly pagoda's space, which was 50 times faster. Then, the two of them switched places. Longjin suggested to Night Sorrow that they should go and pick up his original body. This way, the two of them would have less pressure and could fly continuously without any problems. But if you leave, the team will not be safe enough. If a void purple light snake appears, it will be fatal. Night Sorrow was worried about the team's safety. Tianyu's strength has increased recently. He should be safe with his people hiding in a spatial treasure. Otherwise, we should bring everyone, Longjin said. Night Sorrow shook his head and did not plan to bring his team with him because it was too dangerous. Immortality was not an ordinary person. After thinking for a while, Night Sorrow asked Longjin to test Tianyu's strength to see if Tianyu could fly while carrying the Sky Wasteland halberd. After receiving a positive reply, Night Sorrow asked Longjin to continue staying with the team while informing Tianyu's clone to wait at the designated area. Then, he and Longjin continued to fly. They were going to circle around Broken Sky Mountain before picking up Tianyu's clone. Night Sorrow would not let Longjin and Tianyu's main bodies take the risk. Longjin thought for a moment and didn't insist on sending his own body. He knew that Night Sorrow was thinking for him. Night Sorrow and Longjin flew at a stable speed, while Night Sorrow's main body controlled the fire of virtue and soul power to refine the black destructive energy in the Sky Wasteland halberd. The city lord and King Yawu were worried about Night Sorrow and asked Lin Piao about Night Sorrow's situation many times. After learning about Night Sorrow's decision and the current situation, they were both surprised and worried. They were worried about Night Sorrow's safety and surprised that Night Sorrow could keep the Sky Wasteland halberd. Everyone knew what kind of person Immerse was. Even if she was an emperor, killing an emperor was as easy as flipping her hand. Now, she was fooled by Night Sorrow's strategy, which showed Night Sorrow's ability. "This kid is too stubborn," the Grand Elder said. "Without a strong personality and independent thinking, how can he become the Myriad Emperor? Our opinion is just whether he will take the suggestion or not," the city lord said. "Piao, it seems very stable now, but there's still a big crisis, or rather, an unstable factor," the city lord said. Then, the city lord, who was also Tran Hung, said a possibility that shocked Lin Piao. The Sky Wasteland halberd might contain the soul power of the demon ancestor. _PW. The demon ancestor was the top expert of the demon race in the last reincarnation. He was on par with the human emperor of the celestial realm. If his soul power exists, how can Night Sorrow deal with it? Lin Piao was a bit anxious because this was a real crisis. It's not that scary. The demon ancestor has been in a deep sleep for 8 eras. This means that his soul was destroyed by the human emperor. Deep sleep is just a saying. His soul might have been destroyed. Whether or not the Sky Wasteland halberd has his soul power is another matter. Even if it does, it won't be very strong. If it returned to his body so early, he might have already woken up. If it didn't return, it means that even if the demon ancestor's soul power exists, it's a very weak soul fragment. Without a body, the demon ancestor's soul power is like a rootless duckweed. I'm telling you this so that you can remind Night Sorrow to be vigilant. His soul needs to be protected at all times, the city lord said. Night Sorrow was shocked when he heard this news from Lin Piao. This news was too frightening. Immerse used to be his soul body. How terrifying was she now? If the demon ancestor still had his soul power, it would be terrible. Then, Lin Piao told Night Sorrow some of the city lord's estimates. Only then did he feel more at ease. Immerse kept flying, but couldn't catch up with Night Sorrow. She understood that Night Sorrow didn't stop and kept flying. She was very annoyed. How could she attack Night Sorrow if she couldn't catch him? This situation also made Immerse understand that some opportunities only came once. It was fleeting. After chasing for half a month, Immerse cursed because she found that Night Sorrow and she were going in circles around Broken Mountain. But so what? The idea of waiting for him didn't work. Night Sorrow was going in circles, but it was hundreds of thousands of miles away from the original route. How could she wait for him? Immerse decided to find a team first and then think of a way to intercept Night Sorrow once. It was too difficult to get rid of Night Sorrow in one go and catch Night Sorrow. The same opportunity wouldn't appear twice. After circling around Broken Mountain, Night Sorrow and Longjin picked up Tianyu's clone. With the three brothers together, Night Sorrow was relaxed. His original body continued to refine the halberd while his clone was in peak condition, ready to deal with any possible battle. Immerse brought the Demon Wing Clan's team to her side. At the same time, she estimated where Night Sorrow might appear. She knew very well that Night Sorrow wouldn't give up on Broken Mountain because the Void Purple Light Snake was a protective talisman that Night Sorrow used to stop her. On the other side of Broken Mountain, Night Sorrow asked Tianyu to stop in a safe area. After setting up an illusion array, he made a teleportation array disk. After flying for thousands of miles, Night Sorrow asked Longjin, who had replaced Tianyu, to stop. He set up a large illusion array and asked Longjin and Tianyu to rest. "Captain, it's safer to keep flying." Tianyu asked, "We're on our second round now. That cunning woman might not keep chasing us. She might be waiting somewhere. If we keep running, we'll be passive and let her catch up. Then we'll take the teleportation array and run. We'll play like this in the future and tire that cunning woman to death," Night Sorrow said. Chapter 1890. That's just a joke. We need to be careful. It's only been half a month. We need to recover enough energy to fight her. She's much stronger than us, so we need to cultivate. If she comes, we'll run. Also, I have a battle technique that I forgot to use before, Night Sorrow said. What battle technique? Tianyu asked. It's when I place my soul power on the opponent. As long as the opponent doesn't notice it, I can always find the opponent's location, Night Sorrow said. Long Jin and Tianyu's eyes brightened. This was a good idea. As long as they knew where Mo Tianji was and whether she was close to them, they would be much safer. F-Start. Night Sorrow's original body had been refining the Sky Baron battle halberd. Although the results were not ideal, he was not in a hurry. As long as he had the Sky Baron battle halberd, he could slowly refine it. In the process of refining the Sky Baron battle halberd, Night Sorrow did not forget to cultivate. The sky above Broken Mountain was filled with flickering energy whirlpools. The power of heaven and earth was also very strong. Night Sorrow would not give up such an opportunity. Besides, time was very important to him. If he could cultivate to 6-star Imperial Emperor, the gap between him and Mo Tianji would be smaller. All this time, Night Sorrow felt that he could fight someone stronger than him. However, it was unrealistic for him to do so in front of Mo Tianji. Mo Tianji was above the tribulation of 7 emperors. Her comprehension of the power of heaven and earth completely suppressed him. The energy in her body was also much stronger than his. On the other side of Broken Mountain, Mo Tianji frowned. The hair on her finger was still flashing, but it was much more stable. This meant that the Sky Baron battle halberd had not moved. Night Sorrow was still. Seeing that Night Sorrow was not moving, Mo Tianji knew that waiting was not enough. She had to go and catch him. Mo Tianji did not know where Night Sorrow was, but with the demon ancestor's hair guiding her, it was not difficult for her to find Night Sorrow. Mo Tianji put her subordinates into her spatial treasure and then went to catch Night Sorrow according to the hair's guidance. Within the illusory array, Tianyu and Long Jin were drinking wine. Their true bodies were with the team, cultivating within the array. Night Sorrow's main body was cultivating and refining the Sky Wasteland halberd at the top of the Clear Sky Pagoda, while his clone was cultivating his spear arts. As time passed, Mo Tianji got closer and closer to Night Sorrow and the other two. Mo Tianji was a bit excited. Night Sorrow not moving was her chance. If she could use this chance to get rid of Night Sorrow, then everything would be resolved. Mo Tianji sensed that she was getting closer and closer to the desolate sky halberd. She was especially careful as she advanced. As she investigated, Mo Tianji found the location of the illusion array. She didn't expect Night Sorrow to create an illusion array. After thinking for a while, she figured it out. Yin Wushuang was an array expert, and Night Sorrow, who had received his inheritance, was naturally proficient in array formations as well. Hiding in the spatial treasure and using soul power to control the treasure to pass through the array was unrealistic. Any energy fluctuation within the array would be detected by Night Sorrow. After thinking for a while, Mo Tianji felt that she could only break through the array with brute force. Then, she would lead the team to surround Night Sorrow. This way, Night Sorrow wouldn't have a chance to escape. Mo Tianji spoke to the monarch of the Demon Wing clan in the spatial treasure. Then, she appeared. After she appeared, her white hair danced in the wind as she attacked the illusion array. Night Sorrow noticed Mo Tianji's attack. His clone, who cultivated spear arts, was very alert. Night Sorrow immediately put Long Jin and Tianyu into the Clear Sky Godly Scout. His main body put away the Clear Sky Godly Pagoda and placed the Sky Wasteland halberd on his shoulder. Then, the original body and the doppelganger's soul power shot out toward Mo Tianji. After releasing the soul powers, Night Sorrow's clone and main body merged into one. Then he took out the array disc. Mo Tianji smashed the illusion array and charged towards Night Sorrow. At this moment, Night Sorrow's soul powers were like steel needles piercing towards Mo Tianji's body. You won't be able to escape today. Mo Tianji didn't care about Night Sorrow's soul power. This level of soul attack was trash in her eyes. It didn't affect her at all. Yishang's two vital strands of soul power, under the cover of a large amount of soul power, landed on the root of Mo Tianji's white hair near her neck, and the other pierced through the hem of her dress. You want to catch me? You need to have the ability first. I'm not playing with you anymore. Night Sorrow activated the teleportation array disc. Then his body started to blur, and he disappeared from Mo Tianji's sight. When Mo Tianji's white hair whipped over, it hit nothing but air. Seeing Night Sorrow run away, Mo Tianji roared in anger. Her white hair swept across and shattered everything around her. Night Sorrow appeared from the teleportation array millions of miles away. Then, he brought Long Jin and Tianyu out as well. Captain, did you succeed? Long Jin asked. I used a soul attack to cover up those two pure soul powers. She shouldn't have noticed. We need to keep running. After keeping a certain distance from her, I'll set up another teleportation array and illusion array. As he spoke, Night Sorrow tore down the teleportation array. After Night Sorrow packed up, Tianyu carried the clear sky godly pagoda and started flying. Night Sorrow's main body was still at the top of the clear sky pagoda. He was refining the sky desolate war halberd under the time acceleration. Tianyu and Long Jin took turns flying. It didn't affect Night Sorrow's main body's refining and cultivation. After flying for 7 days, Night Sorrow set up an illusion array in a safe place. The illusion array hid the teleportation array that he tore down a few days ago. After flying for millions of miles, Night Sorrow brought Tianyu and Long Jin to a stop. Night Sorrow's main body continued refining the sky desolate war halberd while his doppelganger set up the teleportation array and illusion array. It's very exciting. We could take turns, and she will be tired. Long Jin said with a smile. Mo Tianji was furious that Night Sorrow ran away. However, she realized that Night Sorrow was very smart. He had already calculated everything. Night Sorrow was strong and good at escaping. He was also an array emperor teacher. It wouldn't be easy for her to capture him. However, she wouldn't give up. Mo Tianji even felt that Night Sorrow should be captured alive. If the Devil Wing clan could obtain Night Sorrow's bloodline, then their descendants would have a very high gray bloodline. They might even surpass the Devil Wing clan. The Devil Wing clan wanted to prosper and never decline. They had been working hard. As they worked hard to improve themselves, they also improved their own bloodlines. The dragon-headed and snake-headed people were the products of bloodline evolution. However, these two were already failed products. Chapter 1891. If it was just Night Sorrow, Mo Tianji wouldn't be so worried. However, she knew very well that Night Sorrow had a clone outside the reincarnation battlefield that could communicate with human almighties. If there was really a way to refine the everlasting war halberd or cut off the connection between her and the everlasting war halberd, it would be difficult for her to find Night Sorrow again. After Gong Zibai's team was blocked by the void purple light snake, they couldn't move forward. After being obstructed for a very long time, Gong Zongbai thought of a way. He captured quite a number of early-stage monarch-rank dragon-headed men and snake-headed men. He wiped out their souls and used his soul power to control them. After that, he stored his subordinates into his spatial treasure. When the void purple light snake appeared, Gong Zibai used the bodies of the dragon-headed and snake-headed and dragon-headed to block it. Then, he used energy to trigger a self-explosion. This way, he could kill the void purple light snake. Night Sorrow's main body worked hard every day to refine the everlasting war halberd. Because he kept refining the destruction energy, Night Sorrow discovered that his destruction attribute power of heaven and earth was increasing rapidly. This was naturally a good thing. However, Night Sorrow didn't stabilize for long. On the 6th day, Immo approached the illusion array area. Because there were two soul powers on Immo knew when she got close to Night Sorrow. Unexpectedly, Immo noticed that something was wrong. When Immo was breaking the array, Night Sorrow took the array disk and ran away. This made Immo thoughts and hopes go down the drain. Immo was very annoyed. Before she could use many of her backup plans, Night Sorrow took the teleportation array disk and ran away. After using the teleportation array disk to teleport tens of thousands of miles away, Night Sorrow dismantled the teleportation array. Tianyu took the Hao-Ian godly pagoda and started flying. Tianyu was very fast. It was very easy for him to pull away from Immo. He could travel 3,000 miles in one strike and 90,000 miles in one go. Immo will think that we noticed her because she broke the formation. She won't think that you noticed her long ago. She won't think that something is wrong with her, said Long Jin. This is indeed a lot safer. We won't be ambushed by that cunning woman. Night Sorrow nodded. What was the scariest? Unknown danger was the scariest. If he couldn't discover Immo in advance, being ambushed by her would be a huge problem. Now, as long as Immo got close, Night Sorrow would be able to sense it and the danger would be greatly reduced. The mayor, King Yewu, and the Grand Elder had been paying attention to Night Sorrow's situation. Night Sorrow also informed them of the situation through Lin Piao. If someone else asked, Night Sorrow wouldn't bother to answer. However, the mayor had helped him twice. The first time was to solve the demon ancestor's soul problem and seal Immo. Night Sorrow was grateful. King Yewu was his martial uncle and cared about him a lot. In addition, the Grand Elder was a senior that he respected a lot and taught him a lot. Every time they heard from Lin Piao that Night Sorrow was safe, the mayor and the other two were very happy. In their hearts, the Sky Desolate Halberd was not as valuable as Night Sorrow. However, Night Sorrow didn't want to let go of the halberd. They couldn't force him. The mayor and the other two also knew that it was useless to give any orders to Night Sorrow. Night Sorrow had his own ideas. The combination of his brain power and his strength is unbreakable for Immo. When the time is up, Night Sorrow will be safe. Then I'll go and solve the problem of the Demon Mountain. Maybe that's the key to why the black dragons and the flying snakes betrayed the celestial realm, the mayor said. King Yewu and the Grand Elder both nodded. The internal disharmony in the celestial realm was the most unstable factor in the conflict between the celestial realm and the Sky Desolate realm. This went on for half a year. Immo broke through more than a dozen illusion formations of Night Sorrow. However, no matter how careful she was, Night Sorrow would always run away at the crucial moment. This made Immo very angry. However, she didn't know how to break Night Sorrow's habit of running away when he was discovered. During this period of cultivation, Yishan's cultivation had increased once more. Staying at the top of the Hao-Ian God Pagoda in the acceleration of time had increased Yishan's space-time attribute by 1 point and his nothingness attribute by 2 points, reaching 53%. There were many void purple light snakes here, which meant that the void attribute was the strongest. It was the place where the will of the world was the strongest. The destruction attribute's will of the world also increased by 2 points, reaching 52%. This was the benefit of refining the Sky Desolate Halberd. Unable to bring the halberd into the Hao-Ian Godly Pagoda, Night Sorrow could only refine it at the top of the pagoda. Although the time acceleration couldn't reach 50 times, 30 times was more than enough. Half a year in the real world meant that Night Sorrow had refined the halberd for 15 years. 15 years of continuous refinement of the destructive energy inside the Sky Desolate Halberd had helped Yishang a lot. After refining for 15 years, Night Sorrow still hadn't finished refining the halberd. However, it wasn't that he didn't gain anything. He refined part of the halberd's handle. It should be said that part of the handle was contaminated with his soul aura. Now that he was holding the halberd, it wasn't that heavy anymore. Of course, this was Night Sorrow's feeling. It was still very strenuous for Long Jin and Tianyu to take it directly. When Knight Sorrow held the halberd, it was 1/3 lighter than before. Knight Sorrow understood that he had refined 1/3 of it. Since he couldn't put it away, Knight Sorrow held it in his hand. If he encountered a void purple light snake, he would use the halberd to attack. When Knight Sorrow used the halberd, he didn't have the sharpness and agility of the reincarnation spear. However, there was an additional weight. It was a weight that could crush everything. As long as the halberd hit something, even a mountain would be turned into dust. Void Purple Light Snake was no exception. 7 months have passed. We still have to endure. After using the teleportation array again to avoid Immortality, Knight Sorrow and the other two flew for a day and landed on the ground to set up camp. In the past, the three of them didn't dare to set up camp. But now, they weren't afraid because Knight Sorrow would know in advance if Immortality chased after them. Knight Sorrow and the other two drank and chatted. They were all in a good mood. Brother Sure-san, Immortality is still thinking about your bloodline. I can't help but laugh when I think about it. Tianyu said with a smile. This treacherous woman is pissing me off. Knight Sorrow cursed. Last time, when they were chasing after Knight Sorrow, Immortality had shouted that as long as Knight Sorrow was willing to submit, the Demon Wing clan would marry their most outstanding princess to Knight Sorrow. If they had children, they would be given the title of nobles in the Demon Wing clan. After hearing this, Knight Sorrow and the other two knew what Immortality was thinking as long as they weren't stupid. That's her wishful thinking. But Captain, maybe you could try to see how the Demon Wing clan's princess feels. Longjin took a bite of meat and said, I don't reject the union of the 100 races of the celestial realm with the human race. But the Demon Wing clan is a foreign race. If the 100 races of the celestial realm marry the Demon Wing clan, it would be betraying the celestial realm. Knight Sorrow said. Longjin and Tianyu nodded. They knew this was their principle. If it were them, they wouldn't do it either. Another small group. The leader has a very strong, evil aura. It should be the Black Dragons. Longjin confirmed. Knight Sorrow's soul power scanned the area, and Gong Zonbai's group appeared. Chapter 1892. Not only were the dragon-headed and snake-headed people under Gong Zibai's control dead, but his team had also lost 6 clones. It was a heavy loss, but there was nothing he could do about it. The Void Purple Light snakes were too fast. Even Immortality couldn't stop them, let alone Gong Zibai and his team. The Void Purple Light snakes devoured energy and flew. Any seal would be broken in an instant. Longjin checked and nodded. That's right. They are members of the Black Dragons. Half of them are from the Flying Serpent race. Brother 13, should we kill them? Tianyu asked. We know the dragon language and have a good relationship with the dragon language. There's no need to attack the Black Dragons directly. I have a grudge with Long Zhe. I'll settle it with him in the future. Knight Sorrow said after thinking for a while. Longjin and Tianyu nodded. They supported Knight Sorrow's decision. Currently, the Black Dragons and Flying Serpents had been going against the 100 Races Alliance of the Celestial Realm. However, the 100 Races Alliance hadn't given the order to kill them. Knight Sorrow didn't kill the Black Dragons because he was considering the big picture. Sometimes, the tiger would hurt the man even if the man didn't hurt the man. Knight Sorrow's team was eating meat and drinking wine when Gong Zibai and his team arrived. After arriving, they surrounded Knight Sorrow's team. Gong Zibai's eyes were fixed on the Sky Desolation halberd in front of Knight Sorrow. Knight Sorrow's team ignored Gong Zibai and his team and continued drinking. They wanted to see what Gong Zibai was going to do. Sky Desolation halberd. I've searched high and low for it, only to find it by chance. Gong Zibai recognized the Sky Desolation halberd. It was one of his missions. Are you done? Then get lost. Longjin looked at Gong Zibai's greedy eyes unhappily. Do you want to die? Gong Zibai unsheathed his sword and pointed it at Longjin. Longjin stood up. Golden scales appeared on his arms, and dragon horns appeared on his head. He had transformed into a half-dragon. Are you going to attack me? If you want to attack, then get lost. There were many branches of the dragons. However, there was only one royal, and that was the Golden Dragon race. When Long Jean started to dragonize, the members of the Black Dragon clan retreated a distance. The natural king's aura had a great effect on them. I don't care who you are. The Patriarch has ordered us to bring the Sky Desolation halberd back. No one can stop us, Gong Zombai said. Come. Leader, they won't retreat. Long Jean said. He was. Night, Soroses. Night, calm. Fight. It's ye. Be. Let. Fight. Do you really think you're so great? You usually drag us down and show off. No one cares, but you shouldn't have stuck your foot in front of us. Tianyu held his sword in his hand. 3 pieces of trash. How dare you talk big? Who do you think you are? What is the Golden Dragon race? Gong Zibai looked at the Sky Baron War halberd with fiery eyes. We're trash. Who do you think you are? Night Sorrow snorted. You don't know what's good for you. Kill them all. Gong Zibai's eyes didn't leave the Sky Baron War halberd. He waved his hand and ordered the team behind him to attack. Tianyu roared. He unsheathed his sword and rushed toward the other members of the Black Dragon team. Long Jean began to wield the tsunami blade in his hand to kill the members of the Dragon tribe and the Flying Serpent tribe. Gong Zibai then rushed toward Night Sorrow. His target was the Sky Baron War halberd in front of Night Sorrow. Reckless, Night Sorrow grabbed the Sky Baron War halberd with his right hand and slashed at the war blade in Gong Zibai's right hand. You're the one who's courting death. Gong Zibai snorted. In terms of strength, Gong Zibai was never afraid of anyone. He was from the Black Dragon race and was born with great strength. Not to mention, his cultivation base was slightly higher than Night Sorrow's. When the 2 weapons collided, Gong Zibai's face changed. A powerful force came from the Sky Baron War halberd. It was so powerful that he couldn't describe it. Shatter. When the Sky Baron War halberd struck Gong Zibai's war blade, the majestic and heavy intent shattered it. Following that, the force behind the halberd sent Gong Zibai flying. Blood flowed from the corner of Gong Zibai's mouth. Night Sorrow had seriously injured him. Night Sorrow sent out a Sky Baron Nirvana Palm with his left hand. He then used the Void Steps and instantly caught up with Gong Zibai, who was enveloped by the Sky Baron Nirvana Palm. He then swung his Sky Baron War halberd. Gong Zibai's body was enveloped by the Sky Baron Nirvana Palm's space-time control. He couldn't dodge Night Sorrow's attack. He took out his war blade and raised it to block the Sky Baron War halberd's path towards his head. Pa! Gong Zibai's war blade shattered into pieces once again. The Sky Baron War halberd also landed on Gong Zibai's face. Even though Gong Zibai raised his head to dodge, he still couldn't avoid it. This time, Gong Zibai's mouth was flattened. His teeth flew out, and his upper and lower jaw bones were shattered. He fainted on the spot. Since his head was attacked, his spirit sea was naturally affected as well. Originally, Gong Zibai wasn't such a trash. However, he thought that his cultivation base was high. Therefore, he didn't put Night Sorrow in his eyes. After the first exchange, he suffered a great loss and was seriously injured. After Night Sorrow released his domain, he waved the Sky Baron War halberd and joined the chaotic battle. After releasing his domain, Night Sorrow's speed was extremely fast. The Sky Baron War halberd continued to attack. As long as one was hit by the Sky Baron War halberd, they wouldn't have a good ending. The Black Dragons and Flying Serpents who were hit felt as if they were smashed by a mountain. They couldn't resist at all. Long Jean also started to kill. He wanted to clean up the clan. The Black Dragons dared to attack him because they didn't put the Golden Dragon clan in their eyes. They were offending their superiors. The battle went on for the time it took to brew a cup of tea. These monarchs were completely defeated by Night Sorrow and the other 2. Long Jean released his bloodline suppression. The Black Dragons and Flying Serpents were all suppressed. The suppression came from their souls, causing their strength to be greatly reduced. Although Night Sorrow and the other 2's cultivation base were low, they were very good at strength and speed. Therefore, the people that Gong Zibai brought were completely defeated. Because Long Jean killed, except for some who ran away without fighting, the rest were all killed. Night Sorrow sat down with the Sky Baron war halberd and continued to drink tea. Long Jean woke Gong Zibai up. He wanted to teach Gong Zibai a lesson. After waking up, Gong Zibai looked at Night Sorrow, Long Jean, and Tianyu. His eyes were filled with fear because the surroundings were filled with corpses. The black dragons are lawless now. They even dare to offend their superiors? Long Jean slapped Gong Zibai's face with a backhand. Gong Zibai knelt on the ground. Although he couldn't speak, his soul power could vibrate to convey his thoughts. He was begging for mercy and wanted to live. Chapter 1893. Gong Zibai kept kowtowing to the ground, begging for his life. Cheap mouth and soft bones. You are a disgrace, do you know that? Long Jean kicked Gong Zibai's face again. A spineless bastard, Tianyu scolded. He despised people like Gong Zibai the most. I'm a bastard. I'm a piece of trash. Please be merciful. Gong Zibai's soul kept fluctuating. A disgrace. The more Long Jean heard, the angrier he got. He slapped Gong Zibai's head. He couldn't let such a piece of trash live. After collecting the spoils, Tianyu spread his wings and flew with Night Sorrow and Long Jean on his back. Mo Tianji, who had sensed that the halberd wasn't moving, cursed. It wasn't moving, but now it was moving. Was he playing with her? As Tianyu flew, Night Sorrow sat at the top of the Haoyan godly pagoda and continued to cultivate in the time acceleration. At the same time, he was refining the halberd. Captain, the halberd is very powerful. Long Jean said to Night Sorrow's doppelganger. He had seen the halberd's destructive power. It destroyed everything it attacked. It was very powerful. It's too heavy. Even if it's 1/3 lighter, I can't use it like an extension of my arm. I can't use some battle skills and techniques. It's too clumsy, Night Sorrow said. When it's completely refined, there won't be such a drawback. Then, Brother 13 will have another divine weapon, Tianyu said while flying. I'm afraid that won't work. The elders of the 100 races value this item very much. They might ask me for it, Night Sorrow said after thinking for a while. You have to give it to them just because they want it? That doesn't make sense. Besides, you were the one who abandoned the city lord, King Yawu, and the great elder. It's your ability to keep them. You've already done them a favor by finding the remains of the human sovereign. Long Jean didn't want to see Yishang hand over the halberd that he had worked so hard to obtain. Night Sorrow nodded. He wasn't willing to hand it over either. If he could successfully bring it back, he would see how things developed. If the city lord of heavenly desolate city, King Yawu, and the great elder asked for it, then he would hand it over. The three of them were giants of the 100 Races Alliance. They were wholeheartedly thinking for the heaven realm and had no selfish motives. If others wanted it, then sorry, Yishan would not spoil them. Tianyu and Long Jean flew in turns while Mo Tianji chased after them. The distance between them did not decrease. Instead, it increased. Mo Tianji needed to recover. Knowing that this couldn't go on, Mo Tianji thought for a moment and took out a peak demon wing race Imperial Emperor from her spatial treasure. Under her guidance, the demon wing race Imperial Emperor flew with the spatial treasure while she recovered. After flying for 2 days, Night Sorrow set up the same trap as before. Then he set up camp and rested while his main body continued to refine. In just 1 day, Night Sorrow sensed that Mo Tianji was approaching. He hurriedly told Long Jean and Tianyu about the situation. This cunning woman should be the same as us. She let the demon wing race Imperial Emperor fly with her. This way, we can't stay steady even if we want to, said the Golden Dragon. No one was a fool. They immediately guessed. Then we can only keep running and switching between running and stopping. She won't be able to figure out our pattern, said Tianyu. Then I'll have to trouble you too. My refining speed is faster, but according to my estimation, the remaining 2/3 will take half a year, said Night Sorrow. That's nothing. While our main body is cultivating, our doppelgangers will accompany the captain to walk this cunning woman. It's more meaningful, said Long Jean with a smile. Night Sorrow did not turn back to dismantle the teleportation circle, as it might come in handy after making a round. Then, Longjean carried Night Sorrow and Tianyu and began flying. Night Sorrow, once I catch you, I will drink your blood. Mo Tianji was on the verge of breaking down. She felt as if she was very close to the Sky Wasteland Halberd, but she noticed that the Sky Wasteland Halberd was moving. GTQ * positive. Version X #_ how many years had it been since Mo Tianji felt like she was about to collapse? What kind of big shot had she not seen before? However, she had never met someone like Night Sorrow who was so good at jumping around. She just couldn't hold him down. Just as she was about to hold him down, he jumped again. Mo Tianji stopped chasing after the battle between Night Sorrow and Gong Zibai. She felt that there was something wrong with her train of thought. If she followed Night Sorrow's train of thought, she would never be able to catch him. Looking at the corpses of the black dragons and flying serpents, Mo Tianji thought of a crucial problem. If she caught up and blocked Night Sorrow, how confident would she be in taking him down? After pondering for a moment, Mo Tianji made a decision. She would cultivate first and increase her cultivation to the Emperor realm. Only then would she be confident in dealing with Night Sorrow. After flying to the other side of the Broken Sky Mountain, Night Sorrow stopped with Longjean and Tianyu. If she doesn't catch up, we will wait. If she doesn't chase, we will just be running around. Wouldn't that be tiring for us? Then let's set up camp. Captain, be careful and don't get tricked by her, Longjean said. Longjean and Tianyu were also wary of Mo Tianji. Not only was this woman powerful, she was also ruthless and determined. Without noticing that Mo Tianji was chasing after him, Night Sorrow cultivated peacefully. The more time passed, the more advantageous it would be for him. No matter if he refined the Sky Desolation Battle Halberd first, or if it was 2 years later, Mo Tianji would fail either way. After 3 months, Night Sorrow had refined 2/3 of the Sky Desolation Battle Halberd. Mo Tianji is really not coming? Has she given up? Tianyu said while drinking the tea that Night Sorrow brewed. She will never give up because the human sovereign's remains and the Sky Desolation Battle Halberd are related to the fate of the Celestial Realm and the Sky Desolation Battle Halberd. In addition, she still wants to deal with me and take back her original body. If she doesn't come now, it won't be a good thing because she might have gone to increase her cultivation. She already has a cultivation realm, and what she lacks is energy. When she appears again, it will be a crisis for us. Night Sorrow said, Captain, what you said is too scary. After hearing Night Sorrow's explanation, Longjin's expression changed. They knew how strong Mo Tianji was now. If she increased her cultivation realm and entered the Emperor realm, the situation would be unimaginable. I'm also thinking about this problem. It's useless to run now. She can sense the Sky Desolation Battle Halberd and can lock onto us at any time. Now, we can only hope that the Void Purple Light Snakes can stop her. Perhaps when she increases her cultivation realm, my space-time attribute can also increase and reach the peak of the Emperor realm. Then, the gap between us will be smaller. Night Sorrow said. Night Sorrow chose this place to cultivate for a reason. First, the space-time intent here was very strong. Second, there were many Void Purple Light Snakes not too far away. 3 months. In 3 more months, 13th Brother will be able to refine the Sky Desolation Battle Halberd. Let's see if we can survive these 3 months. Tianyu said. He knew that this was a great crisis. Time slipped away bit by bit. After 3.5 months, Mo Tianji came out of seclusion. She was a 7-star emperor, which was also the Emperor realm. Chapter 1894. While Mo Tianji was chasing, Night Sorrow's avatar, who was cultivating his spear art, suddenly stopped. His aura and his original body, who was meditating, both rose and underwent some changes. 6-star Emperor, Peak Monarch. Cultivating in the area with the densest space-time aura, Night Sorrow's space-time attribute had a breakthrough. He entered the 6-star Emperor realm, and his cultivation increased by 1 level. Captain, you have advanced, Longjin said, in surprise. Night Sorrow's cultivation speed was indeed fast. Yes, my space-time attribute has advanced. My speed has increased, and my ability to protect myself has increased. Night Sorrow was also very happy. Night Sorrow had advanced. The 3 brothers naturally drank to celebrate. In the middle of the night, while Longjin and Tianyu were surprised, Night Sorrow looked behind him and said, "That woman is here." After 3.5 months of peace, this woman still came. Drinking and celebrating won't even let me rest. This is so boring. Tianyu was very unhappy. My cultivation increased at the right time. I originally thought that I could fight her after advancing. However, since she has chased after me, her cultivation must be at the Emperor realm. The difference between us is even greater than before, Night Sorrow said in a low voice. Monarch and Emperor realm was a watershed, not only in terms of cultivation, but the energy contained in the body was also completely different. Night Sorrow and Mo Tianji's cultivation both increased by 1 level. Mo Tianji's cultivation was still the same, but the energy contained in her body was different. Therefore, Night Sorrow said that the difference was greater than before. 13th brother, let's run then. Tianyu stood up. Night Sorrow nodded. The battle could start at any time. However, in the next 2.5 months, they should focus on refining the Sky Desolate War Halberd. They could not lose the big picture for small gains. Tianyu flew up. Tianyu's divine pagoda stood on his back. Night Sorrow's original body continued refining the Sky Desolate War Halberd at the top of the pagoda. The clone and Longjin sat upright, thinking about the dangers they might encounter. If he hadn't leveled up, Night Sorrow wouldn't have let Tianyu run away, because it would be very dangerous for him to be caught. If he relied on the purple light snakes near the stronghold just now, there would still be a chance, but it was different now. Night Sorrow admitted that his battle prowess was inferior to Mo Tianji's, but in terms of speed, he was confident. His advancement was in the space-time attribute, and his comprehension of time and space had increased. It was a great help to his speed. Night Sorrow felt that even the Emperor rank Mo Tianji couldn't beat him in speed. At most, they would be on par. There wasn't much difference in speed. What mattered was the energy consumption. Mo Tianji only had 1 body. Even though it had a lot of energy, it was only about the same as his original body and his doppelganger combined. Under such circumstances, it was important to have good companions. Tianyu and Longjin were divine beasts that specialized in speed and strength. The Imperial Emperors under Mo Tianji could not compare to them. While Night Sorrow was analyzing and thinking about the advantages and disadvantages, Mo Tianji felt the Sky Desolate battle halberd move. This time, Mo Tianji didn't curse because she wasn't afraid that Night Sorrow would run away. Mo Tianji took out a peak Imperial Emperor from her spatial artifact and let him carry it. Under her guidance, she started to recover. A hashtag forever free look at what little G said. Mo Tianji wasn't in a hurry. As long as her Imperial Emperors didn't pull away, it would be fine. When the energy in her body recovered, Mo Tianji continued to fly. Her speed was twice as fast as her subordinates. Her plan was to let the Imperial Emperors fly at full speed to maintain the situation while she chased after them. Mo Tianji's plan was right, but reality wasn't like that. Tianyu and Longjin weren't peak Imperial Emperors, but they specialized in speed. Mo Tianji wasn't flying by herself, so she would be left behind. If she flew at full speed, she wouldn't be able to catch up much. Night Sorrow's doppelganger sensed Mo Tianji's situation while his original body was still cultivating. 7 days passed in the chase. How did she know I was close? Is this a premonition of danger? Mo Tianji muttered to herself when she returned to the spatial artifact to recover. She didn't understand Night Sorrow's actions. A while ago, he stopped for 3.5 months. What about now? He didn't stop for 7 days. It was as if he had predicted her actions. Does he have something for my original body? No, If he has something from my original body, he can sense me. Then I can sense it too. But I don't have it now. Immerse thought as she recovered. She denied all the possibilities. In the blink of an eye, half a month passed. Night Sorrow had refined the Sky Baron war halberd for 10 months. They had been in the reincarnation space for almost a year. Brother 13, is the refinement going smoothly? Tianyu asked. It's fine. I've started refining the blade of the Sky Baron war halberd. 2 months should be enough. But it's been hard on you and Longjin. She keeps chasing us, so we can't stop. We can't use the same method as half a year ago. Night Sorrow looked at Longjin and Tianyu and said, It's nothing. We're just playing with her for 2 more months. Captain, once you refine the Sky Baron war halberd, she won't be able to sense it. She won't be able to chase us. We'll find a place to stay for a few months. Then, we can safely return to the celestial realm. Longjin said indifferently. In the long life of a cultivator, 2 months was nothing. The distance between them kept shrinking. After all, Immerse was an emperor. When she flew, she could shorten the distance by quite a bit. Immerse caught up. When she saw Night Sorrow's situation, she immediately understood why it was so hard to chase him. It was because the 2 divine beasts were taking turns. Their speed was naturally incomparably fast. Immerse caught up. Night Sorrow didn't notice it at first because the difference between his soul power and Immerse's was not small. However, as the distance kept shrinking, Night Sorrow noticed Immerse. He also knew the reason why Immerse could catch up. She was fast, and her subordinates were flying hard to maintain the advantage. When Tianyu needed to be replaced, Night Sorrow put Tianyu and Longjin into the Clear Sky Pagoda. His doppelganger dragged the Clear Sky Pagoda and then used the Void Step to fly. He wanted to see the difference in speed between him and Immerse. The advancement of the space-time attribute greatly increased the power of Night Sorrow's Void Step. It was as if he was walking casually. However, every step he took covered a large distance. He wasn't any slower than Immerse with her white hair fluttering in the wind. Damn it! After being surprised by Night Sorrow's speed, Immerse noticed that Night Sorrow's cultivation had increased. She increased her cultivation by 1 level, and so did Night Sorrow. The distance between them didn't shrink at all. When Night Sorrow felt that his doppelganger couldn't hold on any longer and needed to recover, it had already been 2 days. He was forcefully holding on. When his body couldn't hold on any longer, Night Sorrow let Tianyu, who was best at speed, carry the Clear Sky Pagoda and his main body. Chapter 1895. Night Sorrow was recovering under the Haotian Pagoda's 50-fold time acceleration. Night Sorrow could recover to his peak state in 4 hours. 4 hours in the Haotian Godly Pagoda was only half a cup of tea's time in the real world. Immerse noticed the appearance of Night Sorrow at his peak state, but she was still a bit away from full recovery. Anger. Immerse was furious. She had seen Night Sorrow's speed and his recovery speed. She understood that it would be very difficult to catch up to Night Sorrow. Moreover, almost a year had passed. Another year would be a foregone conclusion. Night Sorrow, let's talk. Immerse shouted after appearing. Her voice traveled through space for tens of thousands of miles. Night Sorrow naturally heard it. Talk. From the big picture, the Celestial Realm and Tian Wang are enemies. From a personal point of view, my master died because of you, so there is no room for discussion between us. Night Sorrow's voice also traveled behind him. Can't you be more reasonable? Your master, Yin Wushuang, touched the god Annihilation Tribulation herself. After her body was destroyed, she came to Tian Huang to cause trouble. She killed countless experts and trapped me for countless years. Who is whose enemy? Immerse was very angry after hearing Night Sorrow's words, because she was the victim. Not only had she been trapped by Yin Wushuang for countless years, her true body had also been taken away by Yichang. As for whether she had been touched or not, she wasn't sure. Although she wasn't a man, She knew how tempting her body was to men. What you said makes sense, but I saw it with my own eyes. Because of you, Master Wushuang's soul was completely destroyed. Therefore, I can't let this go. Night Sorrow was taken aback after hearing Imo Tianji's words. According to her, she was indeed the victim. Tell me, what do you want from me to return my true body? Imo Tianji asked. Imo Tianji, I'm the virtuous emperor of the human race. Of course, I'm thinking for the celestial realm. If I let you recover, I'll be helping the evildoers. Let me tell you the truth. Don't talk to me. I don't intend to lie to you, Night Sorrow said. Mo Tianji didn't say anything. Although she was angry, she couldn't scold Night Sorrow, even if she wanted to. The chase was still going on, and Night Sorrow's original body continued to refine the infinite wasteland war halberd. In other words, if this stalemate continued, Night Sorrow would have the upper hand. The feeling of helplessness was very strong. Mo Tianji didn't expect to be unable to change the situation even after reaching the emperor rank. She felt that luck wasn't on her side. Night Sorrow's advancement came at the wrong time. Mo Tianji, whether you chase or not, the result will be the same. I won't hide it from you. The emperor's remains and the infinite wasteland war halberd are both in my hands. The future of the infinite wasteland will definitely not be as good as the human race. Just go back where you came from. After Night Sorrow recovered, he stood behind Tianyu and yelled at Mo Tianji, who was chasing after him. Survival of the fittest. This is a principle that hasn't changed since ancient times. The devil-winged race has to fight for a reason. From today onwards, I, Mo Tianji, will treat you, Night Sorrow, as a true opponent. Mo Tianji calmed down. Good. Respecting the opponent is the attitude a cultivator should have. Night Sorrow's heart shook. An angry Mo Tianji might be scary, but when she calmed down, she was truly scary. If the early stage Emperor rank isn't enough, then I'll reach the middle stage Emperor rank before catching you. You can still be carefree for half a year. After chasing around Broken Sky Mountain for half a month, Mo Tianji stopped because it was useless. Night Sorrow's speed was the same as hers. In terms of support strength, Tianyu and Longjin were faster than her emperors. Mo Tianji made this decision after careful consideration. If there was a problem, she had to think of a way to solve it. Stubbornly resisting wasn't the way to solve the problem. Mo Tianji estimated that if she desperately raised her cultivation by 1 rank, she would need half a year. This meant that she still had close to half a year to deal with Night Sorrow. When Mo Tianji stopped chasing, Night Sorrow let out a breath of relief and continued to fly. After flying half a circle, he found a place with dense void energy. Night Sorrow stopped and set up an illusion array at the new stronghold before setting up a teleportation array for retreat. 13th brother, she gave us half a year. Isn't she worried you'll refine the Sky Desolate war halberd? Tianyu finished setting up the tent and said, The Sky Desolate war halberd has been in my hands for 10 months. She thinks I won't be able to refine it. Then again, if she doesn't raise her cultivation, what can she do even if she's worried? Night Sorrow glanced at the main body that was still trying to refine the Sky Desolate war halberd. This was the truth. If Mo Tianji didn't raise her cultivation, what was the point of worrying? With his doppelganger on guard, Night Sorrow's main body was refining the Sky Desolate war halberd at full speed. At the same time, he was researching how to raise the void and destruction attributes. Mo Tianji really needed to cultivate. She wanted to use her middle stage Emperor rank cultivation to deal with Night Sorrow. In the second month of peace, Night Sorrow's virtuous flames and soul power had been refined to the core region of the Sky Desolate war halberd. Night Sorrow was very excited. The Sky Desolate war halberd was very close to being completely refined. As long as the final region of the Sky Desolate war halberd was refined, the xenogeneic aura within the Sky Desolate war halberd would be gone. What was left was his soul aura. Just as Yishang's heart was filled with joy An incomparably tyrannical aura that could crush everything appeared. It was a black energy. It should be a sole force of the destruction attribute. Yishang even felt that the attribute of this soul force had already surpassed the tyrannical nature of the destruction attribute. This black soul power left the sky desolate war halberd and charged towards Night Sorrow's divine sea. Origin Pearl, protect body. Night Sorrow roared. A purple halo appeared above his head. This was the energy of the 9-region Origin Pearl. At the same time, Night Sorrow activated the light of virtue in his divine sea and mixed it with his soul power. He cast Soul Rhythm, which was the soul defense absolute art he learned in the Sky Desolate Tower. This black soul power charged towards Night Sorrow's divine sea twice. However, it was repelled by Night Sorrow's light of virtue and soul power. Virtuous Flames. Chapter T section, Up. Night Sorrow released his virtuous territory and then activated the Human Emperor's seal. He unleashed the virtuous fire. The area within a radius of several feet around him was instantly filled with golden flames. After the golden flames appeared, they wrapped around this soul power and began to burn it. This soul power was even more tyrannical than the void purple light snake. Night Sorrow's domain suppression effect was not very strong. It circled around Night Sorrow's divine sea and attacked him. Night Sorrow used all of his power to activate the 9-region Origin Pearl's defense. His soul power and light of virtue combined to cast a soul defense absolute art. He blocked the invasion of this soul power. At the same time, the Human Emperor's seal's virtuous flames burned this soul power. Chapter 1896. Night Sorrow's doppelganger put Long Jin and Tianyu into the Hao Tian Tower. He could hold on, but if the soul power attacked Long Jin and Tianyu, it would be a big problem. After putting away Tianyu and Long Jin, Night Sorrow's doppelganger merged with his real body. The green lotus jade ring went to his spirit's sea, giving him another layer of soul defense. The battle was still in a stalemate. Night Sorrow was defending very well, but the soul power looked tired. Without a body to support it, the soul power was like a rootless duckweed. Feeling the exhaustion of the soul power, Night Sorrow increased the power of the Human King's seal to keep the fire of virtue burning. After the time it took to drink a cup of tea, the black soul power could not hold on any longer. Like the purple snake, it teleported away. Night Sorrow's forehead was covered in sweat. He knew it was because he had a soul defense treasure and a light of virtue. Otherwise, his spirit's sea would have been broken. What happened to Brother 13? Tianyu, who had been teleported out of the Hao Tian Tower by Night Sorrow, asked. I almost died. Sky Baron Halberd has a soul fragment. It must belong to the Demon Alpha. Night Sorrow waved the Sky Baron Halberd, and it felt completely different. The fire of soul had completely refined it, and there was no longer any xenogenic presence inside. Mo Tianji, who was meditating in a quiet place, stood up. She looked very surprised because the hair around her finger was flickering. It became very unstable, and then the light dimmed. Mo Tianji looked at the hair around her finger, and then she used the weak light to fly. If she could not guess that something was wrong with the Sky Baron Halberd, she would be an idiot. After flying for a day, a black soul power appeared. Before Mo Tianji could react, it went into the 2 strands of hair around her finger. After that, the 2 strands of hair around Mo Tianji's finger disappeared. Everything returned to silence. There was no more movement. ZR. Mo Tianji's expression became ugly because she couldn't sense the halberd. This meant that Night Sorrow had refined the halberd. The demon ancestor's soul fragment was able to force out the Sky Desolation war halberd. This explained the problem. He had lost. Mo Tianji understood that she had lost this trip to the reincarnation battlefield. She had lost thoroughly. She was able to determine where the Sky Wasteland halberd was, but she failed to snatch it back. Now that she was unable to determine its location, how could she snatch it back? There was no chance at all. Letting out a breath, Tianji made a decision. She would not tangle with Night Sorrow for the time being. She should focus on her cultivation. She only had one body, and Night Sorrow's clone and true body were both here. She had no advantage in a fight. Night Sorrow was in a very good mood. The Sky Wasteland halberd no longer had the xenogeneic aura, so he could wield it freely. He could also store it in the Hao Tian Godly Pagoda. Brother 13, have you finished refining it? Tianyu asked happily. Refining complete. Night Sorrow nodded. Long Jean patted Night Sorrow's shoulder. He was happy for Night Sorrow, too. Then we can meet up with the others. The mission was completed perfectly. When the time is up, we can return, Tianyu said. My clone will go with you. I still have work to do, Night Sorrow said. He still had some ideas. Night Sorrow planned to go to the place with the most void purple light snakes. He wanted to capture more of them, as they were pure void energy. The other area had a strong void will. If he practiced there, his void will would increase with half the effort. There are still 10 months left, and he could raise his cultivation. That's fine. Captain refined the Sky Wasteland halberd. Tianji will not be able to find Captain, so we should be safe. Long Jean was relieved. Then, Night Sorrow's original body left with the Hao Tian Godly Pagoda. His clone, Tianyu, and Long Jean headed to the hidden stronghold. After Night Sorrow's clone met up with the soldiers of the First Army, everyone was very happy. They had not seen Night Sorrow for a while. Everyone was worried about Night Sorrow. Thank you, everyone. I made you worry. The environment here is good. It's suitable for comprehending the heaven and earth will. You can cultivate however you want, Night Sorrow said. Then, he went to set up 2 teleportation formations. After knowing Tianji's strength, Night Sorrow had to be careful. If Tianji, who had cultivated to the 8-star Emperor realm, happened to run into them, it would be dangerous. They had to have a perfect plan to retreat. After setting up 2 hidden aces that could retreat at any time, Night Sorrow returned to the stronghold and perfected a few of his ultimate techniques. Night Sorrow's original body carried 2 weapons. One was the Sky Wasteland halberd, and the other was the Reincarnation Spear. Night Sorrow really liked the Sky Wasteland halberd. Domineering, when he wielded it, the feeling of destroying something was very comfortable. When he reached the place where the void purple light snakes gathered, Night Sorrow began to fight. The void purple light snakes contained very dense void energy. To Night Sorrow, it was a great supplement. It was very helpful to increase his void energy. After using his virtue domain to suppress the void purple light snake's speed, Yishang took out his reincarnation spear. Stabbing, slashing, and slashing. Every move he made was able to kill the void purple light snake. After killing it, Yishang's soul power revolved and absorbed the energy into the human emperor's seal. In half a day, Night Sorrow killed his way into the depths of the mountain. The number of void purple light snakes didn't decrease. Instead, there were more of them. One day later, Night Sorrow killed his way into a special area of the broken mountain. Cracks and destructive whirlpools constantly appeared in the sky. The cracks were filled with black destructive energy and purple void energy. The manifestation of the will of heaven and earth was also very intense. At this moment, Night Sorrow understood why there were so many void purple light snakes in this area. It was because the void energy here was very dense. As for why there weren't any destruction attributed demonic beasts, it was very simple. This area was already occupied by the void purple light snakes. Even if there were destruction attributed demonic beasts, they wouldn't be able to gain a foothold here. Night Sorrow wanted to cultivate, but with countless void purple light snakes around, he couldn't calm down. He couldn't kill them all. This gave Yishang a bit of a headache. He would never give up on this treasured land. After looking around, Night Sorrow found a problem. There were no void purple light snakes in the area where the destructive energy was erupting. The void purple light snakes were usually in places where the void energy was denser. Night Sorrow arrived at the boundary between the destructive space crack and the void space crack. He took out the Hao Tian Godly Pagoda and enlarged it to a height of 300 meters. His body then flashed and landed on the top of the pagoda. After observing for a while and confirming that the void purple light snakes wouldn't disturb him, he sat down cross-legged and began to cultivate. Everything quieted down. Immortality gave up on looking for Night Sorrow and continued to improve her cultivation. The Black Dragons and the few remaining members of the Flying Serpent clan ran to a secluded place and hid. Gong Zibai and most of the members were killed. They couldn't do anything. Night Sorrow's doppelganger cultivated the lost art while protecting the members of the First Army. Chapter 1897. The City Lord, King Yawu, and the Grand Elder were elated when they heard that Night Sorrow had completely refined the Sky Baron Halberd. Although they had only heard Lin Piaomiao's report, they knew what kind of danger Yishan was facing. That was the danger of Immortality being able to lock onto a target and chase after them. The problem of the Sky Baron Halberd has been solved. Hide well and wait for the reincarnation battlefield to appear, the City Lord said. When the reincarnation battlefield appears, please inform me first. Tell him not to let the experts of the Demon Wings clan enter first and bring danger to him, Lin Piaomiao said. Okay, I'll go in first. He has completed his task in the reincarnation battlefield and waited for the reincarnation battlefield to appear. He has done what he should do. If we still let him take the risk, it will be our incompetence, the City Lord said. He had made up his mind to go to the reincarnation battlefield as soon as possible. By the way, the Sky Baron Halberd has been completely refined by Night Sorrow. What do you plan to do? If the City Lord wants the Sky Baron Halberd, he won't recognize you as its master. Otherwise, he will recognize you as its master. This way, he will have more strength, Lin Piaomiao said. This was not Night Sorrow's idea. She was asking for her husband. The three of us asked him to abandon it. This is his choice. His safety and the remains of a human sovereign are more important than anything else. He persevered for a year while being chased and got the Sky Baron Halberd. This is the result of his hard work. No one can take it away from him. It's a good thing that the Sky Baron Halberd is not in the hands of the Demon Wings clan. We are willing to see it in his hands, the City Lord said. Then I'll let him know. This time around, he was truly in a life and death struggle. Thankfully, his cultivation base had advanced in time, and he had completed the refinement in time. Otherwise, his life would have been in danger. Lin Piaomiao felt a lingering fear as she thought about it. The three had been learning about Yi Shang's situation through Lin Piaomiao. They knew that Mo Tianji had increased her cultivation, and after failing to kill Yi Shang, she had to increase her cultivation again before killing Yi Shang. Therefore, they knew that Yi Shang was in danger. Both intelligent and courageous, daring to fight and fight. Only with such perseverance and tenacity can the impossible become possible. If it were someone else, the infinite desolate war halberd would have already changed hands. The Grand Elder sighed. Then, King Yawu asked about the Humanitarian League, and Lin Piaomiao gave him a brief introduction. Currently, the Humanitarian League was under the command of Pu Luo and Funtian. Ruiz and Yuzhu returned to their lair to increase their strength. The great Demon King returned to his own domain. His true body needed to cultivate while his avatar reorganized the domain. The Grand Elder and the other two nodded. They valued the Humanitarian League very much and did not want the Humanitarian League to go astray. Then, the Grand Elder asked about Lin Piaomiao's situation. Lin Piaomiao's true body had been cultivating with the help of a spatial treasure. She had even passed the 7 calamities of the heavenly law. The 9 calamities of the heavenly law is a hurdle, but it's not a big problem for you. You have to do it steadily. King Yawu said, "Thank you for your concern. I'll be careful." Lin Piaomiao nodded. In the evil Punisher land, Dachira floated out of the Yellow Spring River. Seeing Dachira, Lin Piaomiao's true body came out of the glazed pagoda. Seeing Dachira, Lin Piaomiao was shocked. Her cultivation had increased too quickly. She had surpassed the 2-star Emperor realm and went from the 1-star Emperor realm to the 3-star Emperor realm. How's Knight Soro's situation now? Dechira asked. Very good. He'll be back in less than a year. You're a little too domineering. You went into seclusion to gain enlightenment, and you increased your cultivation by 2 levels. Lin Piao pulled Dechira into the glazed pagoda and brewed a pot of tea. The Yellow Spring River is very suitable for my cultivation. Sister Xian you have to keep this place open to me. I don't even need to deduce anything inside. I just need to absorb and comprehend the laws of heaven and earth. Just now, a huge skeleton of a demonic beast appeared in the Yellow Spring River and woke me up. I'll continue cultivating later. Dechira said. Your talent is really enviable. Don't worry. If you like it, I can even give you the Evil Punisher land. Lin Piao said with a smile. Thank you, Sister Xian. Dechira raised his teacup at Lin Piao. Lin Piao smiled. She was very happy to be able to get along with Knight Soro's wives like sisters. After chatting with Lin Piao for a while, Dechira entered the Yellow Spring River again. She had an extreme desire for strength. She wanted to fight side by side with Knight Soro. Lin Piao also started cultivating. She hoped that when Knight Soro needed help, she could help Knight Soro. Lin Piao's clone returned to the ethereal imperial city from the heaven desolate city and met Wufeng. Wufeng was planning to go to the 9 Domains world to meet Knight Soro. A few days ago, he went to meet the god-slaying team led by Sandalwood. The members of the god-slaying team cultivated very quickly. There was no problem for them to increase their cultivation level. However, they didn't have enough resources. This is a good thing. I'm just afraid that they won't be able to use up the resources. Here are 10 million Saint Spirit Stones. Give it to them. Also, go and find Elder Lawn. Give him some elixirs. Lin Piao said to Wufeng. As Knight Soro's wife, Lin Piao naturally knew how much Knight Soro cared about their relationship and how much he wanted his brothers to rise. She didn't need to tell Knight Soro anything that she could solve. Wufeng went to work while Lin Piao went to the 9 Domains world. In the city in the sky of the 9 Domains world, Knight Soro was guiding the children in their cultivation. Seeing Lin Piao's arrival, the children all left, leaving Knight Soro and Lin Piao alone to talk. After chatting with Knight Soro about the situation outside, Lin Piao told him about the arrangement of the Heaven Desolate City's City Lord and the other 2 for the Heaven Desolate War Halberd. That's great. I really like that weapon. It has a completely different feeling from the Reincarnation Spear. Knight Soro said, when you come back, study it and see if you can fuse the 2 weapons. Lin Piao suggested. I won't fuse them for now. The Reincarnation Spear has its own advantages while the Heaven Desolate War Halberd has its own dominance. When my cultivation level increases, I might be able to create a unique skill that belongs to the Heaven Desolate War Halberd. Knight Soro said. As time passed, Knight Soro's cultivation level continued to increase. This time, it was the destruction and nothingness attributes that increased. It could even be said that Knight Soro's doppelganger couldn't sense his original body anymore. This was the phenomenon after entering a state of enlightenment. To cultivators, such a state was a dream to increase their cultivation level. You're tuning in to the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.